Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Today. And Osuna hits one hard, deep out to right, gone! First big league home run. A two-run shot for Alejandro Osuna.
2-1 and a high fly ball. Back into deep left. Thomas back, baby might go. Gone! Home run off the bat of the ring catcher, Danny Jansen. And a high fly ball to left center field. It's going, and it is gone! Swing and a line drive, base hit out of the left center field. Carson Kelly staying high. That'll build up against the bullpen. Swanson in. Here comes Bush. Throw to the plate. Too high. Bush is in to score. And Kelly into third. It's 3-0. Cubs on top.
That ball's hit high. It's hit deep. Score 4 for Victor. A grand slam, and the Astros lead this game 6-1. Woo-hoo, this thin air. Gotta get those martinis dry.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
Hey, hi, by the way. Shane.
Hello.
This Joker is super hot. Woo-wee.
Coming in hot? We are a little
Am
warm.
I too? How's that? Well, that'll be good.
I think that's a little better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane.
Goodness gracious.
How are we doing this morning?
We're all right. How about you?
Pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Hey, it could be an old DB thing.
What is up?
Is that you?
I don't think so.
Shane, who is that?
That sounds like Sip.
Is that L3?
That's Brian from Family Guy.
So none of the above.
Dramatic me?
What is up?
What is up?
What they're doing is like mortgaging your mortgage to buy a sports car.
There
There was lots of hot hyperbole takes
with the
yesterday.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Just in general. I mean,
Yeah.
Feinbaum with Arch Manning being the GOAT and winning natties.
I mean, Feinbaum's a dummy.
Wendy with the, as Jacob would say, apparently they're boys. Man, I was texting with Wendy, and Wendy said,
Just casually.
I was
I was texting with Wendy. All right,
I
cool.
was like, what? Because we were taking Caleb to pick up his car, so it was me, Mike, and Caleb.
Yeah.
And of course, those two are going back and forth about cap space and who to make moves for, and having too many 3-and-D wings, and just all sorts of stuff that knuckleheads
Who doesn't want 3-and-D wings?
that go back and forth on. And I was like, fudge. I'm like, I got to figure out this whole clearing waivers thing between, like, what's the difference between Ayton and Lillard? Just hypothetically, just so we could have an educated conversation.
Yeah.
So in order, we tried DeMarinis first.
Yeah.
I'm like, probably would be the most succinct. Get the information. It was only like a 9-minute drive. Try Matty D.
Yeah.
Crickets.
No dice.
And I was like, okay. So in our group text, I was telling him, I was like, well, we could go with Jacob. I'm not sure he's going to answer. Or Ravi. And Micah goes, not calling Ravi. His NBA takes suck. I still want to talk about the Thompson twins being good at basketball. And I was like, Jacob, it is. So we called Jacob, and he answered right away. And I mean, the expertise and fluidity in which he rolled through the dialogue. Now, he and I both did not know one thing about clearing waivers for guys that had been actually cut.
Yeah.
And number of years in the league served.
Yeah.
So there's a little
gray area
little
there.
gray there.
Yeah.
But flipping JP is like a Rolodex. Caleb
He
was,
is. I wouldn't have known the waiver thing.
Caleb goes, and that was my question.
I wouldn't have known that.
Caleb goes, huh? It's kind of just how he is, huh? I was like, yeah, that's
It's about right.
what you see on Twitter is exactly
It's about what you
who
get.
young Jacob is. So it was just funny. And then I just picked his brain because I need a defensive wing, and so since they tried to sabotage the Dorian Finney-Smith deal,
Let that just walk out the door.
and then they kind of tried to do the screw job to I don't know lessen his market value. I was like, that's kind of shady, but we'll see.
Maybe they thought if they.
I'm hoping with how quiet it is with DeAndre Ayton that's already a done deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we just got to figure out a way to guard.
You wouldn't have to worry about DeAndre Ayton if they hadn't submarine that whole Mark Williams deal last year.
Still don't know what happened.
Doesn't make any sense. But doesn't make any sense at all. Todd says, "Hey Ravi, don't insult dummies by calling Feinbaum a dummy." Fair. That's fair. It's insulting.
I mean, that was a super hot take.
That's insulting.
But it was easily going to gas me up because I am not one of those guys that is in the Tim Tebow college quarterback discussion.
Before we get to Tebow,
no, I don't want to get to anything.
I just want to say I already ate the Thompson twin thing.
Oh, you're going back to get that?
Yeah, because
I don't think he knows that.
He probably didn't, but I did. I ate it.
Didn't you scoop it? Didn't you pick him up once?
Yeah, I don't know.
How come you guys didn't talk about it?
I don't know. We were talking about other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Just
yeah,
bonding. I don't know. No, we talked about a lot of stuff. I don't think the Thompson twins came up. Or maybe they did, and he just wasn't listening.
They went to go work out at the field because he has to lift and he wants to do some on the field stuff. And so when I dropped him off, I said, hey, these are a couple things that I want to work on with Breeze. Caleb was like, okay, got it. So they were gone for however long, and they come back, and Micah's the first one to come say hello. He's like, hey, I'm going to hop in the shower. And I was like, how'd it go? He goes, man, it's good, man. You can learn a lot if you can just get past the way he talks to you. It's like, yeah, join the crowd. I say that to myself twice a week every time I talk to him. If you can just get past the way he talks to you, you're fine. Very, very matter of fact.
So are Caleb and Micah, like you were saying they were going back and forth on stuff, are they the type of brothers, and I think I have a guess on how it would go, but are they the type of brothers that'll disagree with each other just because they're talking to that person?
So that's probably more Micah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Than it is Caleb.
Yeah. And it probably drives Caleb crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Micah, I know you don't even think that.
Caleb just thinks Mike is just saying that.
Yeah, which sometimes he might be.
You never know.
Fair.
You just never know. Like they were getting into it over the Nemharts yesterday. Yeah. And it's just interesting to take the stances they take.
What were the stances?
I
don't have any strong feelings about Nemharts.
No, I know. Caleb is under the impression that given the opportunity, younger could be just as productive as older.
Ooh, I don't know that that's true.
Well, you didn't see it with older, so.
No, I saw it more. I mean, here's my issue with the younger is he's like at some point his size is going to be limiting in the NBA.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like that's going to be tough.
Big brother's not huge.
He's bigger than Ryan.
Makes it work.
Andrew's bigger than Ryan. He's like 6'2", isn't he?
Yeah.
I think Ryan's like 5'11".
And I so that was like the jumping off point.
Yeah.
And then figuring out dinner, which we knew the base of what we were gonna do, but to figure out the protein is very Benning-esque.
What'd you end up with?
So it's hard to explain. I tried a new deal, and I knew I wasn't gonna eat it because of the base. So I cared, but I didn't care. But I cut up like cubed potatoes and seasoned them and browned them like in the oven. So got them fairly crispy, then topped it with like chorizo.
Oh, I love chorizo.
And I seasoned the ground beef like taco meat and mixed the chorizo, and there's a little cheese sauce in there as kind of like a gooey base, and I put it on top, then topped it with cheese, and I had it with like salsa and ate it with like a pie. And I saw the recipe on TikTok, but I said, hey, we could do chicken bacon ranch, we could do garlic steak bites in here. I mean, it's just basically going to be a protein on the potatoes with a medium. Micah's like, I don't care, man. Can we just keep it simple? Like, let's just keep it simple. I'm like, and he said it like 4 times. So I finally came in there and I was like, What do you mean when you say
what's your problem?
What is simple? Like, what's more complicated than like chicken and bacon versus chorizo and ground beef? And he's like, I don't know. I just want it to be good. Don't try to do too much.
Wow. He's probably right, though.
Listen, I closed that door so quick. Caleb's sitting on the couch. He just shook his head. And he goes, "That's your son." It's like, this is such a joy. I love just having you two all day, every day.
For what it's worth, Ryan Nemhard is 5'11". Andrew Nemhard is 6'4".
He's not 6'4".
That's the official.
I know what it says,
that's
but
the
then
official NBA
then we got to
numbers
get
for
into
each
your
one.
2-inch lifts. And
I'm just saying that's the
I know
official
you're
number for
big,
each one.
You're a big lifts guy.
You got to get that little extra height.
So, anyway,
I'm just saying there's a legitimate like 4-inch difference between those guys. Like that's a big difference.
So, but I did realize, being the poor parent that I am, I figure out the more where I learned the most information about Nebraska is listening to those two.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't have to ask a thing.
Caleb just let stuff spill.
Mike has, I know you're probably surprised. Mike has strong opinions on things he may not have all the information on. So
that's why he gets mad at me, because I do the same thing to him.
So Caleb was setting the record straight. So it was very, very entertaining.
I come to think of it, we talked mostly football when I was hanging out with Micah.
Yeah,
it was mostly football because it was right around the NFL draft.
So Caleb's in class. He's taking calculus, and so he's online. He's at the dining room table. Micah would like come out and breathe heavy because they're supposed to be going to lift, and he'd walk by
like be huffing and puffing,
and he goes
like the deep sigh.
Yeah, and he walks by him and he looks at him real slow, and it just drives Caleb up the wall. And I'm like, man, you're gonna get your brains beat in here in a second. And he'll come by. I said, hey, Breeze, he had to get his haircut yesterday. And I'm like, are you going to lift and work out? Yeah. I don't know. When's Caleb gonna be done with his class? He's got the lady on mute. I mean, is he even listening? I was like, wow, this dude is a menace. So it's highly, highly entertaining.
You like to see it. It's good to see a little attitude.
Dude, it's a nightmare. But then, and Caleb came home. I don't know. We were getting ready to eat, and Zoe had just called because they were like watching whales and dolphins like on the boat, and they hung up, and Caleb goes, man, who would have ever thought that siblings that I never used to like would end up being my best friends? just shot at Breeze. Breeze is like, yeah, whatever. That's why you're always texting me, huh? It's just,
oh man,
it's funny.
A couple of characters.
Yeah, we talked. It did lead to a nice discussion about competitiveness and like position battles.
Yeah,
and because obviously Mike is young and going to try to win a job, and how you have to, cheer for your team. It was just.
They're both sort of in similar spots in their respective places, right? Like
yeah.
They're both trying to win a job. They're younger guys, both sophomores trying to get after it. Well, I guess Caleb's redshirt freshman technically, but second year going after it, trying to get a job. Yeah,
and so he's doing position breakdowns and who's. He was walking Micah through the differences in the safety spots. Mm-hmm. So Micah was like, "Man, dang." Okay, man, if you can play, right? Nah, Breeze. I mean, kind of, but no.
That's a very like Micah thing to.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Oversimplify.
Yeah. It is.
It is really funny, like how it's like somebody just split you right down the middle.
100%.
And it's like that's Caleb, and then that's Micah.
Yeah.
Just like the two different halves of your personality.
It's
not uncanny.
It is unbelievably accurate.
It's really wild.
Micah is my total alter ego when I don't give a what.
Yeah.
Right? When I just
like when you got bad intentions.
Super pragmatic, like I'm going in for the kill shot.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like how I did Michigan Lance. Right?
Yeah.
Caleb is the read the room.
More measured.
Chill. That's how I prefer to be.
Yeah.
But definitely
they both exist.
Yeah. Definitely have to suppress the other one.
Micah has not learned how to suppress the other one yet.
That's why I don't really get mad at him, because I get it.
Because you're like, that one's on me.
Yeah.
He comes by that naturally.
I know what he meant when he said, just keep it simple. He's like, look, man, as long as it's good, I don't care. I don't need all the
Well,
I said, hey, do you want salsa on here? Yeah, but don't cook it in there. Like, I don't want it warm. I want it as a topping.
I actually get that. I don't like warm salsa.
I'm like, no, I said, Micah, I've known you for 16 years, man. I understand that you don't want it warm. I'm saying, do you want it? Like, you don't have to tell me that. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about sitting it on the table.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes down.
It's all right. It seemed like a fun evening.
Yeah. I mean, did you want to know the difference between playing Rover and Nickel? I mean, that was 25 minutes. I'm like, gee, Christmas.
So, Mike, you think Mike ends up on defense?
Yes.
There's more opportunity on defense early.
He's a much better natural pass catcher, or I should say route runner, than his brother.
Okay.
Caleb's hands are incredible.
Yeah.
But Micah is
kind of got
and he's done it longer.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah's been playing receiver for 3 years. Caleb did it for.
You've got some good receivers, though.
Yeah, he won't be seen. I mean, yeah,
between Mo and Eli.
Yeah, it's a little taggy's nice.
Yeah.
We're like
it's a little crowded.
We're good out there.
It's a little crowded out there.
But his group is pretty good.
Yeah.
There's
the sophomores.
Yeah, there's a young pup I like.
Yeah.
He's a junior. Mac Dealer. There's a lot of little young guys I like.
Yeah, yeah. Sophomores and juniors.
But we don't need those guys just yet.
Yeah. Next year maybe.
Taggy's gonna be a stud though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might be our little secret weapon.
Speaking of little secret weapons, Nebraska might have got one yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much of a secret he is.
Working out of the slot.
Yeah. Larry Miles.
Yeah. So number 8th ranked slot in the state.
Yep.
Very fluid.
Yeah.
He's a quick guy.
So I was watching some tape last night.
I like that. I like your tape watching.
And I was trying to come up with a comparison to how he moves, right? Because he's not really a juke guy, but he's a really good quick change of direction guy.
Yeah, a little Percy Harvin.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Because I was thinking of.
That's kind of who he reminded me. Now I hope he's as good, but
right.
You know how Percy wasn't like ski skirt, break it down,
like
cutlery, but he could make you miss with like just
with the cuts.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, because I was thinking, when you think of an elusive slot guy, you almost think of like Peter Warwick, like putting people on skates and like doing the jump back moves and all this kind of stuff. That's not really it.
Yep.
It's more Percy Harvin's a great example. I was trying to find another guy that runs that way, even at a different position, right? I was like, oh, it's not like Barry Sanders is the juke guy. Yeah. He's not really
He's not a Jahmyr Gibbs. He's more of he's a slice. I call those guys slicers.
Yes.
I don't know why, but it makes sense because we used to run plays called slice.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. It was like finding the crease and then like kind of bending to it.
Yeah.
Like that was the goal.
Yeah.
Nebraska runs slice. Some call it duo. It's a duo concept.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Marty Brown listening to Coach Rhule and Marty talk about duo and slice. They call it slice at NDSU. And so then just to listen to him talk run scheme, I was like, I need a bounty quicker picker up. I need to
a little drool.
The corner
a little drool.
Mouth there.
But no, he's a Miles is a weapon.
Yeah. And that puts him at 12, right?
That puts him at 12.
I like.
We'll see
there's my man Caden Layden in the cut. Very, very good comp, Caden.
Ooh, there you go.
Very good.
Eric Metcalf.
Yes.
I like it.
See, the cool name guys, they have hot takes.
That's a good take.
That's a very good take.
Yeah.
I'm a Metcalf
Big
guy.
Eric Metcalf guy?
As a person, I didn't like him as a player. He said all the right things being a second in line and playing behind Terry. And so I always, again, just taking notes in case. And I was coming behind my dad. Anyway, I liked Metcalf's. I liked listening to him. Didn't like him as a player because, of course, he was a Cleveland clown. And I didn't get into any Browns as a kid. No. Not Doo-Doo Brown, not Cleveland Brown, not.
What about Doc Brown? Back to the Future?
You know what? Late to the party.
I'm not a big Back to the Future guy.
Saw Back to the Future I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
I'm not a big Back to the Future
I saw a lot of movies late. I was late to Fletch, late to. What's the golf movie with Bill Murray and the Groundhog?
Caddyshack.
Late to Caddyshack.
Yeah. Can I say, 80s movies don't hold up for me.
So one was on Saturday, not this Saturday, last Saturday. Weird Science was on in the morning.
I don't think I've seen Weird Science.
Weird Science is still funny.
I never thought I was.
And the Family Jewels.
Give me the keys, I drive. Hey, Letha.
I love that movie.
It's pretty funny.
I was lambasted by some friends for not liking Fletch. I did not think Fletch was funny at all.
I got killed by Kugler and Severe back in the day over being very out on Fletch.
I'm not a Chevy Chase guy though.
So, which is funny that Severe liked Fletch because he hates Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I think he sucks. I don't know. Like I've never thought he was.
That's hotter
But
than Feinbaum's take.
But I've gotten into arguments that's not really a Chevy Chase movie.
Fletch?
No,
Caddyshack?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not.
Because he's not the star, even though
I
is
wouldn't
the
give
star.
Caddyshack.
No, that's a Bill Murray movie. I tell what I
He's
think
not
of
the star, even though he's the star too.
it. But yeah, no, I'm out on Chevy Chase. That doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I
Never
thought
thought
Fletch
he was
I
funny.
thought Fletch was just okay. I mean, outside of the Lakers jersey, where there's nothing.
I didn't think it was funny.
Hmm.
I was told it was hilarious movie. You're gonna love. No, not a single laugh was had.
TK Fletch sucks.
It does. Thank you, TK. Thank you.
I brought a couple of my friends today.
Oh, we've got. They're new best friends themselves, Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, besties.
Somebody did bring up that Aaron Rodgers is looking a little yellow.
Jaundice.
Yeah.
That is Ronda Rousey-esque. Ronda Rousey got whooped that night, and she had like the yellowy skin, and she made a bunch of excuses for not being able to take a punch, but that's us talking.
Not being able to take a punch.
She got arm bars submitted that night, but anyway, no, she got knocked out, kind of. Yeah, stoppage.
Which one was that?
Holly Holm.
I'll say the blonde lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the blonde lady.
I couldn't remember her name. I knew it was like alliteration, and she was blonde, but I couldn't remember.
2025. I think we have to move past that.
I mean, is she blonde and a lady?
Well, don't go being all pragmatic on me now. Makes too much sense. He's moving around well, but I am encouraged, because it was getting ready to be doom and gloom. Outside of, I told D. Marinas, I said, all I really have to look forward to, this is going to be tough, is Nebraska football being good and Creighton and Nebraska basketball. Because
Nebraska volleyball.
I hope.
Mhm.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Good roster.
It's fantastic.
Good roster.
I watched the Big Ten preview a couple months ago, and I'm like, geez, they're loaded. What did he say?
It's Adrian Wyatt. I can't.
Oh no,
I can't.
he can't.
He can say that. I can't even repeat it. Wow.
I might leave that up there for the entire show.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Just need a minute here. Okay, Nebraska volleyball. A lot of pressure. Good roster.
You got to be continually
Pressing.
I can't believe
Oh,
how
you hear
they're.
that, Preston? That was a good one for me.
I can't believe how they're getting killed nationally.
Who?
The Steelers.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean,
It's
crush.
weird. Like, you could tell me better because you pay attention to them more frequently. But it seems like for some reason this year, like people just won't stop talking about them.
I know.
That's not normal, right? Like this is new.
I've been to. I think it is relatively new.
Okay, because like it's usually the Cowboys, or
I think it is relatively new.
if they don't have an off-season topic, they usually have their kind of pet teams, and it doesn't seem like the Steelers have been that team in the past. I get with the Rodgers drama, but now it's T.J. Watt, and now I don't understand.
I am encouraged that it sounds like they want to get a deal done.
I hope so, for your sake. I mean,
well,
it doesn't help me at all.
For my sake.
Well, yeah.
Why you should be? I want your teams to do well.
I know. That's why I said for your sake. I want them to do well.
I mean, that didn't land like very encouraging.
I mean,
more like for your sake. Like
if he wants to,
I read that as I might be doing too much, but I read it as like keep this guy calm down so he's remotely tolerable to work with.
That's not what I meant.
I think that's what you're insinuating.
No, that's what I meant when I was rooting for the Dodgers in the World Series. That's not what I meant with T.J. Watt.
Yeah. Gibby!
Fair enough.
Meet Freddie!
Is that fair?
Just running down the hotel park or
I was
hallway.
I remember I was at a cigar bar with some buddies when that happened.
Yeah. I was like, whew. Hope there's no regular people in this wing.
I hope this is all Nebraska people.
Man, it was like a dead-on sprint. I'm surprised I didn't torch a hammy.
It was late, too.
I was like, let's
It
go!
was pretty late.
But they put the kind of the scrub bubs on the other side of the hotel. The players were on the good side. Non-essential staff are tucked over there in the corner. It's fine.
I think you're essential, DB.
I am desperately hoping that this, because I will thumb my nose up. If the Steelers make any sort of run as the hate that they've got,
yeah.
like, and I mean, Canty's on a roll. Like, quietly, he's become one of those guys that he's not a contrarian, but he has a lot of his individual takes, like the whole Mahomes thing. You know, that went on. It's still going. They're still arguing about whether Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, you want to have a real quick argument about it? Is Mahomes the best quarterback in the NFL?
I think I actually am riding with Canty on this one.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. I think he's 100% right, and he's getting crushed. Another average year from Mahomes. Dude, look at his last 2 years.
I know.
And I get it, leading the league in drops, and I get it, but it's you can still be in the best position as a guy and not be the best player at your position. I am 100% with Canty.
So who are you taking?
Well, I think you got a couple of candidates. Josh Allen is in the discussion, as is Burrow.
I'll accept Burrow.
Will you? Thanks.
Yeah,
that's cool.
You're welcome.
I'll accept Burrow.
I'll allow it.
Really?
No,
and
Josh Allen's really
because
good.
you want Lamar to have to win in the.
I need Lamar to win a little bit in the playoffs.
Okay.
That's, I think, reasonable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty deep into this thing for him to not have.
I mean, because I do get it, right?
Played
all,
well
all
at
Mahomes
all.
does is play for AFC championships and Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's hard to look past.
Yeah.
Especially when the alternatives don't have that on their resume.
No, see, Kobe, it easily is not correct. Easily, that's an opinion. Not to go all Daniel Moylan.
So I know you don't like to do this, but
That's an opinion.
it's
certainly not easy.
I try and look at, okay, what would Joe Burrow's look like in the same situation?
I like Kobe, so I'm not going to treat him like Michigan Lance, but just watch last season.
No, I know.
There is no easily. Just watch last season.
I mean, nobody's higher on Burrow than I am.
Again,
I love Burrow.
in a 17-game season, didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. He was sacked 41 times. He was 43-9 touchdowns to interception ratio and threw for almost 5K. They lost 4 games in which they scored 34 points or more, which has never happened in the NFL. He somehow, on the last Sunday of the season, had them in position to go to the playoffs. He's easily the best quarterback in the league. It's simply not true. Simply not true.
I think it's funny when people say, just because your opinion is different doesn't make me wrong. It's like, okay, but just because your opinion is different doesn't make you right either.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
He's like he would be the only one that.
And I disagree with you. Like, I do think it's Mahomes. I don't think it's easily.
No, I didn't say it wasn't Mahomes.
You said he has another.
Yeah,
guy.
We've entered the discussion now.
That's fair.
But
like today, you still have to pick Mahomes.
We could have the discussion.
Today, it's still Mahomes.
Yeah,
fair. But if Burrow repeats what he did last year, which would be ridiculous at 43-9 and all the numbers that you routed off there, hopefully they can actually make the playoffs this year. Mahomes,
I don't see that.
I don't either. But
they're just not going to get stops.
Are you?
They could be worse on defense this year than they were last year.
Yeah. Are you going by mechanics?
Like if I like the way they move?
Yeah.
No. Otherwise, I wouldn't like Lamar Jackson. I think his mechanics are horrible.
Terrible. Bad mechanics.
Well, they work for him.
They do, but I mean, like if you're going aesthetically or like how you would teach it, not close.
I'm patient with that because there's multiple ways to skin a cat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to teach anybody to golf like Jim Furyk, but Jim Furyk was an incredible golfer, right? I don't know if you can repeat Aaron Rodgers' mechanics, right?
Sure.
So I
I think there's a lot. And there's a lot of guys like that, especially like you're not going to teach to play the quarterback position like Mahomes plays it either.
Correct.
Like you're not going.
Correct.
To. He does some weird stuff that you would.
There
never,
is no 1, 2, 3, 4 balls out.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah,
like you would never do that.
Right. I get it.
Probably the closest to you would teach a guy how to do that is like a Manning is pretty close.
Yeah.
Like you would teach a guy how to play quarterback like Manning did.
Or Brady.
Brady, yeah.
Yeah. Very rhythmic. Really, really good mechanics.
Yeah.
Lends itself to lack of,
like repeatability.
Command of the game.
And Brady never had arm issues.
Yeah. That's good mechanics.
He never had arm issues.
Peyton had neck issues more than arm issues.
Yeah, well,
not his fault.
And Peyton's mechanics weren't.
They were okay.
They weren't ideal.
They were a little
right?
out in front, kind of weird, like flippy.
But I mean, it worked for him.
Yeah.
So I'm not no Shane. The answer is no.
I will say I do want it to look a certain way, even if it's not like textbook mechanics. Like I like the way, like as much as I don't love Rodgers, I do like the way it looks when he does it.
Yeah.
As opposed to I don't love the way, like I don't totally love the way it looks when Josh Allen does it. I think that's a lot of my hesitation. It's like I just don't love the aesthetics of Josh Allen. It feels a little
improv-y.
Yeah, like it. I know he's done it enough that it is repeatable, but it doesn't feel repeatable when I watch it.
But he's kind of freaky too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's.
I mean, big,
there's like some
strong,
Cam Newton-y things
fast,
there,
like
where you're like, hey, this probably isn't doable with anybody who has any lesser of physical abilities.
You know who you'd like mechanics-wise?
Who
is Hurrdat?
Hurrdat looks good when he's doing it.
Yeah.
Big,
strong, athletic guy.
He's another. I probably need you to win a little bit more for how good you are.
Again, I understand. I don't enjoy the dialogue because now you can't throw 5 picks in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
But it is the ultimate team game, so
for sure,
I like a lot goes into that.
I agree.
I mean, if a tight end catches a ball. Oh, there's multiple things that could have happened earlier, but I mean, Lamar Jackson had a chance to change the narrative.
Yeah,
just need a little help from your team too.
Yeah.
So
no, I get it.
I don't know.
That's why I'm not as hard on quarterbacks as I am on basketball players. Because
smaller numbers, more
basketball players, you can have an outsized impact on a game if you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm looking at if we bring this back to these two. I don't even know how great or how good Rodgers needs to be. Now, he probably needs to be better than 22-23 QBR, like he has been since 2022. And odds are against him at 40, trying to win playoff games, right? It's a minuscule
small
list,
sample size.
Very minuscule list of guys that have been able to pull that off.
Basically just Tom Brady, if I'm not mistaken.
That's about right. But and it's not just Burrow. Like I think Allen has entered the discussion of playing the position for what his team needs.
Yeah.
In terms of, and I know you're very dismissive. Take Burrow, but I think the lack of appreciation for Allen it's a little blasphemous.
I appreciate how good he is. He's just not for me. Like I'm a Burrow guy. I like the way it looks with Burrow. A lot of it is, I mean, when you're coming down to this type of stuff, like it's personal preference. Like I prefer Burrow. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Josh Allen isn't just as good. Like I can't in good conscience tell you he's not just as good or that Lamar's not just as good. The only thing I have on either of those guys is like, yeah, you'd like them to win a little bit more in the playoffs, but that's true of Burrow outside of 1 year also, right? So,
and I mean, what Mahomes has proven over those guys is if he gets the ball last, you're losing.
You're done.
So,
and honestly,
I mean, that's the ultimate scoreboard.
I probably have some Super Bowl PTSD with Mahomes. A couple times over
for
now.
Being fairly, like being pedestrian at times until it matters.
Yeah.
And
it's what being scared out of my mind that like, please don't give that guy the ball back.
He's terrifying.
Like I don't get that feeling with anybody else, which is fine.
He's terrifying.
Like that doesn't mean they're not good quarterbacks, but I am going to have a hard time putting someone else in that category until I start feeling that way.
What if Kincaid makes that catch? Which he easily should have.
Absolutely. Or Mark Andrews makes the catch. I get it.
You just need some things to kind of go your way too.
I do have a hard time though with it seems like even though I don't think Mahomes' pass catches are any better than, especially now.
Well, they've been horrific.
But they still seem to always make those catches.
When they need to.
And I don't know what to do with that.
Do you know why? Because at the end of the day, he had a guy that he could go to.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Kelsey is the dude.
Yeah.
So.
I just have a hard time separating that when it's like Mark Andrews is a really good tight end. You know, Kincaid's a really good tight end. I get they're not Kelsey, but you know what I mean?
If winning ultimately matters, why do you – so you're just resting on the fact that Allen doesn't fit your eye?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't have a better reason. Like that's –
because he has more playoff wins.
Yeah. I don't have a good reason except like I just don't love the way it looks.
He's really good.
Yeah. There's a lot of people like I mean, it's worse in basketball because I'm very specific about what I want in basketball. There's a bunch of guys that are really good at basketball that I'm just like, not for me.
I'm probably with you.
Like, if I don't like the way it looks, like I can sit here and tell you, like, obviously Josh Allen.
I have lots of guys like that.
Really good. You know,
LeBron is like that. Karl Malone is like that.
Luka's like that.
I can't stand Luka because of that.
That's why I'm still mad at Luka.
I don't like James Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that.
So I think a lot of it is like I can acknowledge how good you are and just be like, I don't want to watch it, and I prefer you're not on my team.
Random, but because he ggets overlooked, and this is kind of an old pull, but I never really loved the way Moses Malone played as a below the rim big like that.
Yeah, below the rim bigs are kind of a tough hang.
It just didn't. But I love Barkley.
Okay.
Because once upon a time, Barkley was explosive.
Yeah.
His game changed.
He evolved to adapt to.
But Moses Malone's a great player. Yeah. I think he's very underappreciated historically, and I
don't like watching.
I never like watching him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to like Karl Malone, but for like as a human being, but like as a basketball player, like I just hate how it looks.
Yeah,
he'd never looked like he was good to me.
Yep.
So I don't care how many points he scored. Like I'm just never gonna ride with Karl Malone.
Nah, he was a bad boy too.
Yeah, and a lot.
Did I send you that?
Yeah.
He's unlikable.
Yeah.
That was old too.
I just not a Rashad McCants guy. Yeah. Out all the way out. Speaking of hot takes. Let's get to Paul Feinbaum here in just a second. Let's take a quick break. Because
who did that make mad? Was that Matty D?
Yes. Yeah, it gassed him up pretty good.
How about his just rapid fire laundry list of quarterbacks?
No, that was me. I set the list.
Yeah.
I gave you like 9 in 10 seconds. I was like, boom. There you go.
Since
06.
07. Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a second. Paul Feinbaum had some hot takes about Arch Manning and Tim Tebow. And we had some feelings about it. SDB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First-Time Home Buyers Program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, She makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them. All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, make sure you keep those eyes focused and straight ahead while you're driving. You've got one job as a driver. That is to drive. Don't get distracted. It's a message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We were talking a little bit about Paul Feinbaum yesterday, or today, about what he said yesterday, which was what I would like to call slightly hyperbolic in his praise of Arch Manning. Mm-hmm. Archie's the old one. That Arch was the best quarterback to come into college football since Tim Tebow in 06. So we got a couple problems here, DB. Number one, Tim Tebow wasn't even the starter in 06. That was a guy named Chris Leak. Tebow was a situational, short yardage quarterback who, despite what people think, did not have a large impact on that national title.
In 06.
Yeah. That being said, he said he's the best. That's the Tebow part of this. We'll put that over there. We'll get to him in a second. Because the implication was that Tebow has been the best quarterback over the last 20 years of college football. That was the implication of what I took from Feinbaum. You got this other part. Save me. You got this other part where Arch Manning has played, I don't know, I think he's thrown like 40 balls at Texas.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I don't know.
It's under 100, I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
So maybe
we did this once.
We did, and I'll do it again.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Is you're having this conversation with a guy that thinks that is banking on Manning and Sark being pretty good.
You are, yeah. He's thrown 95 career passes at.
Where did
Texas.
I put them in my draft? They were high.
For the OC QB combo?
They were top 2.
Yeah, they were high. So
I'm listening with bated breath here.
And listen, I expect them to be good. I don't expect Arch to be the best quarterback over the last 20 years.
Hey, my man's back today. You heard me call him yesterday.
Scotty?
Nope, JMP.
Oh, okay. We haven't heard Scott for a minute.
I saw him today.
Did you?
Yeah.
I saw him again at the CWS. I saw him twice.
Umbrellas and the whole deal. His son had this. That's my next purchase.
Yeah.
I have the short sleeve version, but he had the long sleeve gray with the red trim and the block end.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I had the long sleeve. I don't have the long sleeve in black and the short sleeve. I have the long sleeve in white and the short sleeve.
You just got the short sleeve in gray?
Yeah.
Got to tell me.
I must have ran out of money that day. Because it's not, typically I would complete the.
Yeah, complete the set.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you.
or I was in a pinch, or they didn't have. It was something.
They might have been out of your size or something.
Yeah,
because you like to go bigger sizes. So like a lot of times on the.
So you know what's funny?
What's that?
Is I have to.
Scale back a little bit.
I'm running the risk of looking like a clown.
What do you mean?
I'm just not ready to reinvest in sizes yet, though.
You want to see if the new weight sticks or what?
Yeah. See if this is just a flash in the pan or not. Some things just look ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, no.
But no,
you're getting ready to make the case against somebody that thinks Arch and Sark are going to be pretty
no,
good.
And I'm not even saying Arch isn't going to be good. I'm saying it's silly to be like he's going to be the best quarterback in 20 years. Because you know what? We've had some pretty good quarterbacks the last 20 years.
Yeah.
A lot of which are better than Tebow.
Are we talking totality or just the singular season?
I'll go either, whichever you want to. You pick.
Well,
dealer's choice, because there's plenty of both. There's probably fewer totalities.
But I think you could make the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make the case that Cam's 11 season, statistically, with what that team was bringing to the, and I know, listen, TK hates context, with what that offense was, and what Cam was asked to do, that might be one of the best statistical quarterback seasons in the last 20 years.
Oh, I don't even think that's an argument.
So I don't know. We'll get into a few probably if you name them.
So there's a few that I would put on par, maybe a little better. But
is one of them Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield's one of them. And he wasn't even on my initial list. But if you want to talk about careers, Baker Mayfield's career is absurd. Fully stupid.
Yeah, it is absurd.
We're going to look this up real quick because I don't think people appreciate how absolutely bonkers Baker Mayfield was, especially once he got to Oklahoma.
I was going to say that about Scott, but sometimes guys don't like to know that. He is, remember I told you he's giving Steve Austin vibes? He is considerably more fit.
Man, because he's got that walk game right, man. He's on it.
It's like legitimately shrunk.
Yeah.
So I concur, Scott.
3 years at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
68%, 3,700 yards, 36-7.
Yeah.
71%, 40 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 39.65 for yards. 71%, 4,600 yards, 43 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's 3 consecutive years of Baker Mayfield. Absolutely bonkers.
It's incredible. I was hoping
unreal.
So I'm a Baker guy.
Oh, hold on. Let me get to rushing. 400 yards rushing. 177, a little lower. He was about half the attempt. Still had 6 touchdowns. 300 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. He belongs in the discussion.
Bonkers.
He was the first one I thought of.
Honestly, he wasn't for me because the first one I thought of was Burrow. Burrow's senior year was as good as
19.
60 touchdowns and 5 picks, I think. Is that the number? It's I don't even it doesn't even sound right saying it. I think it's
I almost thought 9. Is it 5?
It's stupid. It's 6.
6.
It's 6.
Okay.
I thought it was 60 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's a 10-to-1 ratio.
Even I can do that.
BT Dubs, he threw for 5,600 yards on 76% completion percentage. None of that sounds real.
I'm rocking with TK too.
What do you say?
Look at the guy that he is. And you know I kind of honk for him.
Kyler?
Yep.
I just assumed.
Wow,
I
really?
didn't even see. You love Kyler. But that's actually, once we talked about Baker, that's the next guy I thought of. Because he had a stupid career also.
I'm like, it's just revisionist history. It's like grown legs.
No, Kyler Murray was really, really good. You want to?
And I get
now he only started for 1 year.
Hear my heart.
He only started for 1 full year.
No, I know.
To be fair.
That's why I was talking career single season.
Yeah.
So,
single season, he went 69, 4,300, 42, and 7.
Yeah.
Which is basically Baker numbers.
So, but I have to say this.
Okay.
Because I think people think I just don't like Tebow, which is not true.
You think he's overrated?
Extremely.
Which is it's different.
Again, if I'm going with a rushing quarterback,
You're taking Cam.
I would like a guy that averaged more than 4.5 yards a carry.
Totally fair.
Right? Because I watch him. Right? I know QB power. I see blast. I see their version of ISO with lead back and 2 tights and and lead. Like Nebraska ran that offense.
I mean, you could make the argument that Tebow's the 4th best rushing quarterback since then.
But those numbers are gaudy.
Where you take Newton first, right?
Yeah.
You take Lamar first.
I'd take a non-rushing quarterback.
You take Johnny Manziel first.
Probably not.
Okay.
I'd take Mariota first.
Mariota, rushing or mobile quarterback.
I'd take Mariota before Tebow.
So he's at best 4th amongst the rushing quarterbacks.
But I do have to. I got to be consistent. I do have to factor in availability. I'm not. Obviously Mariota couldn't carry the mail like Tebow could. He just wasn't. He's not built for that. But as a natural runner, give me.
And he was available in college. Like he didn't run into injury stuff until the pros.
Give me Marcus every day that ends in one.
Rico got my back here. He brought up Trevor Lawrence, who went.
Did he Lawrence threw for like 11K?
Just 10.
Okay.
Yeah. 10K. His completion percentage was a little lower, 67 total for his career, but he was a 90-17 touchdown interception ratio for his career. 90-17. That's pretty good. Like, say what you will about him in Jacksonville, that's fine. But that dude was that dude was a monster in college.
I can separate the two.
That dude was a monster in college.
What bowl game was that? He housed that run, and I was like, was that Bama? When he ran away from Bama?
Yeah, when they blew him out.
And I was like, what the?
You're like, I didn't know he had that in the bag. You're like, that's Trevor?
It's funny. I wasn't even streaming then, so I don't even think I could get my rewind.
Oh, you couldn't go back and get it?
I know I wasn't.
Can I throw this out here too? I mean, like,
so DJ, the rule, so the premise is post 07, right?
Yeah, like in the last 20 years,
because
basically the best.
Because that was kind of Feinbaum's deal about Arch.
That he was basically saying that Tebow had been the best quarterback over the last 20 years, and that Arch was going to be the next of that. Like, let's not pretend that redshirt freshman year Jameis wasn't just a monster.
But wasn't he like 33-11?
He was 40-10 as a true freshman, or as a redshirt freshman. His next year, he threw a lot of picks.
That was the 35-16?
25-18. It was rough.
We had 35-16.
He only started 2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
Yeah, because he went.
I might be thinking the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, we know he can be an interception machine, but
40-10 is pretty legit.
4,000 yards, 40-10. 10.6 yards per attempt. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
like that's
for that number of attempts.
Yeah,
that may hold a while.
Yeah,
that seems like a lot.
That's high.
God, the 8s is good.
Yeah. 10.6 yards per attempt.
And that's not completion, that's attempt.
Completions is 15-8.
Yeah, that's silly. Fudge, who was he throwing to?
Calvin Benjamin was a big one.
Oh, yeah.
He had
numero uno.
I think Nick O'Leary was the tight end.
Another pro.
That's
really silly.
Yeah. 15-8 on completions.
No, per attempt.
Yeah, 10-8. They're 10-6.
Yeah, you're getting vertical.
Yeah. Like those aren't easy. Those aren't gimmies. Like that's like there's a lot of dudes. At least there's a lot of 1 years.
I was today years old. That's a lot per attempt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, and it's not like Navy or Nebraska in the 80s where you get a receiver with a 20 yards per, but they only caught 20 balls.
Yeah. No, he was almost 400 yards or 400 passing attempts.
That's some Milliken type stuff.
Like, that's pretty aggressive.
Remember? No, you weren't alive yet, but Nebraska had a tight end and all he did was catch touchdowns. He was like Chris Carter before Chris Carter.
That was sort of the
Todd Milliken.
That was sort of like the Tracy Wistrom thing.
Well, anytime Nebraska threw the ball in the 80s, off play action, it was for a chunk. He wasn't. Yeah, we
weren't nickel and diming down the
Rod
field.
Smith was housing that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
10-8 per attempt.
Yeah, it's silly.
That may set a second. Because they threw the air out of that thing.
They did. Yeah.
They threw the air. Yeah, I mean, the more I go through it, Baker was the first one that came to mind as a career.
I mean, are you taking Caleb Williams as a career?
Now, Caleb Williams is pretty ridiculous.
I mean, the Caleb Williams numbers
we sleep on Caleb because we talk about what he is, which, by the way, I always ask this to Verghese, and I shouldn't because I'll never get him to come around. I don't get the Caleb Williams.
How much he hates him? because he hates that dude.
I don't even get it in the league.
Yeah.
And that's not just Verghese. Verghese isn't alone.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is met with like trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
Can Ben fix what? You mean getting the ball out on time or not holding the ball? Because if that's the case, then yeah. But dude was pretty good as a rookie.
My only thing with Caleb Williams, and I said this coming in before he ever got drafted, was he's had to play off schedule so much.
Yeah.
How does he do? Can he win on schedule? Right? Which is, I think, a fair question. But in college, Caleb Williams went, so he played the half year at Oklahoma, went 1,900 yards, 21 touchdowns, 4 picks. Then at Heisman year at USC, 4,500 yards, 42 touchdowns, 5 picks. And then 36, 30, and 5.
Yeah. I'm with you, AD. Amazing, Daniel. Johnny Mitchell was the same way. I'm going to guess Johnny Mitchell's yards per catch. I don't want to get ridiculous. Is greater than, I almost said 20. It's greater than 18 per.
Do we have stats on Johnny Mitchell? Ooh, okay. You ready?
Yeah.
First career?
Yeah.
19.4.
Okay. Wow.
19.4.
I thought 20 was a reach, but greater than 18.
Coming up next, we got Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. A little new schedule for him this week since we're off on Friday. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First-Time Home Buyers Program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
That's a great question, and I thought it had been asked a lot earlier. Listen, I'll say this: there's a lot of unanswered questions as this thing will progress. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad the case was finally settled, and now we can move on with our lives. At least for the rules that we've heard. We had our league meetings in LA. We talked to our commissioner a lot about how this thing was going to take place. Talked to Troy Dannon in leadership of our athletic program about what to expect. And, listen, from everything we understand, revenue sharing is going to be the main source for these guys now. The true NIL deals are going to have to go through the clearinghouse that's run by a very reputable company with Deloitte. And, we'll see how that all plays out on what a fair market value is for somebody to be approved an NIL deal. But until we see, a deal that's rejected, which I don't think that's happened yet, what exactly the parameters are within an NIL deal getting approved.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. so you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Can I do that? Or is that frowned upon?
Do what?
I don't know, man.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Presented.
You're still my guy, Shane. Even though you just told me a flat-out fib. My man said I said that.
No, he definitely did not.
I know what he said. Dude said.
He said,
Hey,
you're coming back after this.
At Tim's log again. How about
Which and then it ended, and then we came back.
I'm not talking to you right now. I don't see him. Is he here?
Yeah, he's down on these.
We'll bring him up. There he is.
What's up?
With the free-flowing locks and everything, man. Pretty quick.
Verghese from inside
TV,
Nebraska.
what's up, buddy?
Hey, how we doing? Hey, I wanted to. We've kind of just like gone past this. It keeps saying fourth best head of hair in Nebraska media. Who are the other three? Like we just never addressed this.
So,
Was that self-gloss? No, that wasn't even
that's
self.
Rico.
Who's? Oh, okay.
Rico put that up there.
So yeah, who's 1, 2, 3?
I don't know. I've been wondering this for a while. I don't know if Rico.
I asked him on social media. He said he'll hop on for a segment to address these, and then he's just been ducking me.
Rico, you gotta stop ducking our guy here. Who's the top 3, man?
I don't want to say one of the guys because he I don't want to say one of the guys, but it is quietly always pretty whipped. It's got a little comb over to it. It's dark, quietly, and he kind of shaves the sides. He can do the man bun.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of buttery. I could see him in the discussion.
Rico, hop in, bud.
Are we talking trash?
Who's the
No,
top? Who's the top
we just
3?
see. Hey, Mr. Defensive, you're like,
What's
the
going
rest
on?
Who's the top 3?
We're looking for clarity on who's got the best hair game in the media.
Well, I had me and Kenny were 1 and 2 before I cut my hair, so I might have to change.
Okay.
Change Tim's to at least 3rd till I grow my hair back out. And then our guy Jay Foreman is growing his hair out. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's got the natural. I need to call him, man. He caught me on a day where I missed both his calls, and he's the type of dude that'll try to take it out on me. So I'm gonna have to go and get that one.
No, it looks
Foreman
good.
can stay pissed.
He's got like a Frederick Douglass thing going on.
Oh no, he didn't. Rico is called a natural.
Nah, I know. No,
David,
I know. I said what I said.
All right.
I said what I said.
All right, Suave. All
All right. I'll change it. I'll change it to 3rd best. How about that?
That might
That's
be
fair. That's fair.
That's a nice guy. He said Frederick Douglass. I'm telling. I'm a child.
Go ahead, tell him. I'm about to get a call while you guys are on air.
Like, wow, Frederick
You're gonna
Douglass.
get me in trouble. All right. Have a
All
good
right, TV. It's been a whirlwind, man. Are you caught up? Did you catch your breath?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been interesting for sure. I mean, the one that's been like not surprising, but the one that's been just in terms of timing was Noyle, just because like even last week it was leaning Mississippi State, and he was leaning to make the decision July 7th. Nebraska obviously has a conversation with him, gets him to pull up that timeline and also make that decision in Nebraska's favor. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, like most all of this, like Miles, I mean, we put it up in our story yesterday. Miles pretty much was done after his Nebraska OV. He called us. He said, I saw what I needed to see, and that was that, confirmed what I needed to confirm. And he was good, like that. Nebraska got that one done basically a couple of weeks ago. But I will also say this, that one got interesting after the weekend. He was at OT7 finals over the weekend and had 15 touchdowns. He had a couple of schools calling him being like, hey, can we get into this thing late? And no, he was done with the process.
Just 15 of them, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I know. So, yeah, he had that performance, and yeah, he had a couple schools calling him, trying to get him to delay a decision, or potentially give their school a second shot, or another chance. And now he was pretty done with it. This is another one. I mean, just relationships over the course of a month, essentially. Nebraska built a really strong relationship there, especially for a guy like him who had some early like interest from Florida and Miami, has teammates going to Florida and Miami, and both those schools kind of played like touch and go with them a little bit. For Nebraska to kind of come in and be all in on him from the moment they offered really meant a lot to him. Really meant a lot to him and his family. I think he's about as shut down as you can get, and I think Nebraska's got a really good shot of holding on to him, because not just all of that's all of what I mentioned. Cortez Mills and Ja'Cory Barney kind of took this guy under their wing. I've known this guy for a while, and are really just kind of pushing the Flobraska thing on him. So I feel good about Nebraska there. Odom's one where we'll just have to see. I do expect that one to continue into the fall. More on that in tomorrow's Timbits, but yeah, it's gonna be. Still waiting on two more this week, or at least two decisions this week. You got Devin Jackson deciding tomorrow, Darian Jones on Friday. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's kind of on Matt Rhule to kind of close again there.
Yeah. Coffee is definitely for closers and Coach Rhule. He's pretty good at that closing thing.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Tim, give me I know you like doing the evals here. When you see Larry Miles, then we can move on to, because I think there's some really other really interesting recruitment stories here as well. Give me a comp that you think for Larry Miles as you kind of see his game.
Yeah, I mean, one that just like really stuck out watching him is just like it is just kind of like the guy that the staff, Jaquil and Dana, have had some success with. It's Tank Dell-ish, it's Ja'Cory Barney-ish, a guy that can win from the slot and outside, a long strider for a smaller frame, right around 6 foot. But he
gives me Percy Harvin vibes.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, really shifty. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he doesn't run through contact. He kind of runs around it, but he doesn't really lose that top end gear at all.
He's not really like he's not like a shake you up kind of guy like a Tyreek Hill, but he's very smooth and can play the angles like Percy, like kind of sleek and bendy. I like his style in the open field. Hard to believe there are 7 guys ranked ahead of him in the slot in that state, but I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's one that I think, especially as evaluators got that exposure to him over this past weekend, as he steps into a bigger role as a senior. Again, and keep this in mind, as a junior, he had 1,200 receiving yards playing opposite a borderline 5-star receiver that went off to Florida, and Vernell Brown III, who's a freshman there, who also had 1,500 receiving yards. It wasn't. Yeah, putting up numbers.
They love him in Gainesville, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Playing with a talent.
So, Tim, let's move on to one of the other big commits this week with Claude Impuma. That one, it seems like maybe surprised a lot of people with how it moved to Nebraska late. What do you know about how that all sort of happened?
Yeah, so Florida kind of not took themselves out of it, but Florida was kind of in this first come, first serve. And even if you talk to people down there, they don't necessarily love, like, depending on who you talk to down there, they don't love the order of operations and things happen. Because if Claude was deciding earlier, they would have loved Claude over maybe one or two of the actual O-line commits they got. But they kind of filled up at O-line. They weren't willing to really cut a guy in favor of Claude. And so they kind of just took first come, first serve. And so it came down to Nebraska and Auburn. Michigan, Ohio State, of course, involved as well, were hats at the table, but neither one of the schools got them on official visits. And so it really came down to Nebraska, Auburn. I mean, there was some confidence on Auburn's end, even going into late last week. They thought they were going to be able to come out on top. They had a more compelling NIL offer. And I think I reported it here. Maybe it was just on our board or in the story. Auburn tried to get this done in like December, practically sight unseen. Like Auburn tried to just come in with a pretty sizable bag back in December and just get this done. And so Yeah, I mean, Nebraska obviously put together a pretty compelling offer, but this was another one where relationships, and I said it on Twitter, to have to, say it here too. Credit to EJ Bartel. He was the one that got Nebraska into this recruitment way back in October, was part of the reason Nebraska was able to close with him. Donovan Rhule, of course, played a big role here. The offensive line group, led by Tyler Canuck, who's turned into, kind of a heck of a recruiter in his own right, played their part. Rhule, of course, ultimately came down to relationships, ultimately came down to proximity to home a little bit. And again, kind of a trust in Donovan Raiola's development. We've seen, in previous cycles, elite type tackles talk about Raiola's development and talk about, we just need to see more of it. I think you have to kind of credit Claude a little bit too for kind of doing it, trusting him, even though the proof is still kind of working itself out. You know what I mean? I think we're going to see the results here in the next few years of Raiola's development, but you haven't really seen it yet. And for Claude to kind of trust that, knowing that he needs a lot of development to get to where he wants to go, I think is a credit to the kid and his belief in the staff.
It's interesting too, because you mentioned Auburn and Hugh Freeze, and Hugh Freeze has had a lot to say in the recruiting world and is not afraid to put his opinions out there. Nebraska fans must remember, like a thief in the night, got a big-time wide receiver that Nebraska thought that they had their hooks in from back when he was at Ole Miss. They were the first to offer Chris Hickman, you remember, out of Omaha. But anyway, I say all that to say, winning kind of those head-to-head battles against guys like Hugh Freeze, who apparently pretty much hate Nebraska. I think it's good. Like, Nebraska hasn't won a lot of those, especially at a premier spot like tackle.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this about Donnie. I'm glad you talked about EJ a little bit too, because it's always better when running backs coaches and O-line coaches are on the same page, because it's easy to not on a staff. Trust me, right? Because you'd think it would be real symbiotic, but historically it's not always that way. I love Nebraska's cross recruiting and using all hands on deck. It's very intentional from Coach Rhule, and he likes it that way. So you just can't get too connected to a particular individual. He's really intentional with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's everywhere. I mean, it's specifically the hotbeds in Chicago. It's if you're recruiting Chicago, EJ Bartel's going to be talking to you, and you've also got, your position coach there in Texas, in Oklahoma, in Kansas City, and Missouri in general. You're talking to Jamar Mosey, you're talking to Bartel, you're talking to Keith Williams. Like, you're talking to a couple of guys. But yeah, like Mosey, in Texas is starting to do some work a little bit. Nebraska, kind of working themselves back into, or working themselves in that recruitment of Calvin Thomas, where I'm very curious to see how these next couple of days progress before a July 12th decision. But that's one, again, where you've got, again, our area recruiter kind of playing the long game and doing his part to kind of help Nebraska over the top.
So you mentioned Calvin Thomas. He's one of a few decisions coming up. Devin Jackson, Darian Jones as well. How do you think Nebraska fares in those? I know some people still holding out hope for like a Valdensone as well. And like, how do you see these next few impending announcements going for Nebraska?
Yeah, so Jackson's tomorrow. That one, just feeling Oregon. After talking to a couple people yesterday, he was at Larry Miles' decision. The people around him still kind of lean Oregon. We'll have to see if Nebraska can close over the next day or so. But this is another one. If Nebraska comes out on top, it's relationships beating out NIL. And with Darian Jones, again, still kind of there's more Iowa buzz than there is Nebraska buzz. Again, would kind of take a strong closing effort from Nebraska. I do like where Nebraska's kind of standing at this point with Calvin Thomas. We'll see if that holds. I do think SMU is going to try and make a push. Texas is obviously going to try and make a push. I don't really know where North Carolina stands in this recruitment anymore. They were at one point a school with some buzz here, have kind of dropped off a little bit, and I have not heard a whole lot linking Thomas and North Carolina as of late. But do they renew their effort at least in these final days? I'm curious to see what happens in that one. But and Son, yeah, this is just going to be another one where, kind of like in Puma, does Nebraska kind of benefit from some other programs filling up and just the fact that they've built the best relationship? I mean, you have to put those two things together. Like with Son, Georgia right now, I think, has 6 D-line commits. That's not to say they wouldn't take Valdemson. Last I talked, it sounds like he's still a take there, and they still very much would want him.
Well, you think even with Georgia, Son is the type of guy that if he says yes, you take him.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter where you are. Even Florida, yeah.
You take Son.
Exactly. And so I'm curious to see if that continues to hold true with Georgia and Florida, because Florida has a few D-line commits as well. And Nebraska continues to have the best relationship, have continued to be the school that has done things the right way in this recruitment. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get over the draw of the SEC. But if it is, then again, it would be a massive win for the staff, and I think probably the biggest win of the summer, even after coming out of a summer that's had a lot of big wins.
So it's interesting, we saw the the tweet from Coach Rhule, and he's more out in front a little bit. The much ado about nothing. I still don't get it, and I don't want to relitigate it because I've kind of moved on past the bull in the weight room, and people thought that was a big deal, and I'm like, listen, man, it doesn't move my needle. Like, if that's – apparently it works, right? So I'm for that. Having said all that, what do you think, or what do you envision year 3 Coach Rhule looks like? It's got to be different, right? Where he seems to be evolving into – he apparently likes this team because he's been a little different. He talks about the kids in the program defending year 3. In terms of the culture, he seems like it's going to start with him in defending year 3 in the culture. Like, he's going to take the lead on that and put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm assuming you've noticed it as well. Yeah, there's not a personality shift, but it is kind of just like it's a personality that kind of matches where the program's at right now and the culture. I think it is really just you're seeing two sides fully gel and become one with each other, the players and the staff and all of that come together. And I think this is all just, he's the tip of the sword, I guess is the best way to kind of put it. He's the guy out in front. And I think the team is going to go as he goes, as Dylan goes. Like, they're the leaders right now. You know what I mean? They're the guys at the very tip of this sword right now.
He goes to bat publicly for this program.
Right, exactly. And I think part of this, in my opinion, is just having the trust on both sides of the ball in Dana Holgorsen has control of the offense. Phil Snow and John Butler have control of the defense. He is fully the CEO that he wants to be leading this program, and it allows him to be a little more vocal because he has a ton of confidence in the guys running the show on both sides of the ball.
Tim, I've kind of gotten the sense, we see different guys, whether it's like Dabo in the last few years or Kirby Smart kind of this year, talking about how none of his guys have been there for a couple springs in a row. It almost seems like, and DB and I were talking about this earlier in the week, it almost seems like Rhule sort of enjoys the chaos that's going on right now. Like, it almost feels like...
He looks like it as an advantage him because
he
can drive.
It seems like he views it as an opportunity. If everybody else is having a hard time finding their footing, that means there's an opportunity for him in Nebraska to make some hay. Like, have you noticed that part of it as we see, like, we don't hear Coach Rhule sort of like bemoaning the state of college football very much. Every once in a while he'll be like, yeah, I mean, people are calling my guys a lot. But outside of that, he doesn't really talk about like, well, we don't know this and we don't know this. He's just like, we'll figure it out when they decide, they decide. Like, it almost seems like he enjoys it.
It's like what we touched on last week a little bit. In this day and age, again, for whatever reason, I get it. I understand. Like, if you're a casual fan and you see where the state of college football is going, you can kind of dismiss, well, it's all up to money. Why does anything matter? Like, why does anything matter? The way you beat money is by having very strong relationships, having guys that want to be there. Nebraska's been not necessarily ahead of the curve, but they've been prepared for all of these changes. There have been programs out there that have operated, even up to this last week, have operated like this rev share thing is not happening. Like they're not going to have to eventually, kind of have to work within the salary cap and be smart with their money and be smart with certain things. And Nebraska kind of just always operated like this, and so they can kind of approach recruitments, approach the current state with the confidence that they are going to stay consistent and they are working to the plan. When you know that everything's taken care of behind the scenes, when you know that you have a GM that is aligned with you, when you have a program that from the top down is pretty aligned in their values and pretty aligned from a culture standpoint, you can kind of you can move with the confidence that the staff is moving with, and kind of do the things that they're doing right now, because again, they are very confident in the operation that they're running.
Yeah, I am a huge, I don't know how long I've been paying attention to this. So, more than 20 years for sure. And listen, I would hear that individually at each position, you may have had a better guy, right? When you talk athletic director or head coach, or in this case, a general manager or the administrative team, like individually throughout the last 25 years, you may have had a better singular entity. But when I look at the totality of everybody moving in the same direction, kind of same heartbeat, same philosophy, the non-complaining, the continuity of thought, this may be the best I've seen in the last 25 years, where I feel like it's aligned and it's equipped with forward-thinking go-getters, not woe is me's or what don't we have or we can't do this. Like the belief in the entity from the triumvirate, for me, seems to be at an all-time high.
Yeah, absolutely. And
arguably the most difficult stretch of college athletics.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's
even
I think
conferences, changing head coaches. This is the most difficult time, in my opinion, to navigate.
And they don't really get caught off guard by things when we see rules practically change on a whim every couple months, and it's this, it's that. It's like, at least publicly, even talking behind the scenes, like it's like, well, we trust what we've done. We have strong relationships. We just kind of hope those went out, and you kind of continue to do business as usual. When you like I said, when you know that everyone's aligned, and when you know that your culture, when Rhule talks about defending your three, about a player-led culture. When all those things are true, when recruits are coming on campus and noticing that as well, when all of those things are coming together and work to itself. I talked to a 27 recruit yesterday. I'll have that story up later today. Talked to a 27 recruit today, and 27 recruits don't get the same exposure to the guys as official visitors. When we talk to official visitors, they always talk about, oh, it was really cool to see like how aligned the team is and get to know the players a little bit and realize, all these guys are super tight knit. You hear that all the time from official visitors because they spend, 48 hours plus around the team. You don't really get that with 27 recruits because typically they come in for a day or two, and they're not really around the facility to the same extent that official visitors are. But I had 27 recruits yesterday, like just saying, yeah, the family culture there. Like you just kind of see it, like they're in the facility and they're, it's like, oh, it's a group of 4 players really walking around, all from different positions.
They protect one another. They're very, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's impressive, man. I try not to get too, gaga gooey, but I'm just, I just like the fact that they protect the house and they're doing it from the top down.
Yeah. It was really cool for me when we were at Indianapolis last week for the 5-Star Challenge. And I was talking to Trey just about the month he had at Nebraska, spending a lot of time around campus. The last 2 camps we were at, his mom took a picture of it too, but there was a point in the camp where it's all the campers, and then it's all the players, and then it's Trey with the players, and it just felt like watching him operate around camp. It's like, wait, why is he having like a 15-minute conversation with, a third-year walk-on? Why is he he's so close with everybody on the team? I asked him, I was like, who are your best relationships now? And he's like, man, it's weird. Me and Jeremiah Charles are really close. I don't know what I have anything in common with Jeremiah, but we're really
Is that not funny, AJ? So you know what's funny about I'm a huge JJ guy. I don't know what it is. He's like Buford. He's like older Buford on steroids because, Buford's like that too, is kind of this grand ambassador. But JJ's kind of been through it too, and he's young, and there's a lot of expectations, and he's still a cool kid. You know what I mean? Lesser a person would have probably wilted a little bit, but I'm glad because But I will tell you this: Trey scared me last week when he said, and Puma wasn't feeling the love like he was from some other school. This dude literally.
Yeah, it was a brief time.
Put out a bat signal. All the arms. And lo and behold, man, it's interesting to have it watch unfold. Other people are now starting to believe as much as Nebraska does internally, and that's always going to be a scary thing.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with JJ and just the DB room in general, it is kind of cool to see how close that room is, considering how competitive that room is. Like all those guys are fighting for playing time, and it's like, oh, it's cool. Like Jeremiah Charles, there's a chance, like he's probably going to play, but there's a chance he just loses out on like serious snaps in fall camp.
You got Marshall, you got Khan, you've got who do I like to play? Amari Sanders. You got hey, listen, they got a lot of guys.
You got a lot of dudes, and that's the thing. Like it's really cool to see how tight knit that room is. Like you saw it during camp, in between reps, these guys are drilling together and just working on little things together. It's like you guys should hate each other. Like there should be some like animosity there. It isn't really that at all.
Tim, last thing for me here before we get you out. We've talked a lot about how it's going to be a small class. But if some of these start to go Nebraska's way, we could creep up to that 15, 16, 17 pretty easy. Like, is that something you think Nebraska's prepared for, where if, hey, all these go their way, they'll take the 16?
I always thought 14 was the max, but it might not be.
Yeah, I mean, just because I think there's a few guys out there that they're going to not make exceptions for, but they're going to hold a spot for and find a way to make it work. We've seen them find ways to make things work in previous years. I think there are a couple guys they'd like to make it work this year. And even coming out of the summer, I think there's a few they're going to keep an eye on. But yeah, like I think this next week and a half, seeing how some decisions go is really going to shape how they approach August and beyond, because I mean, you're already starting to see guys start to figure out, okay, I want to get back out to some schools in the fall. I want to potentially continue my recruitment out into the fall. And so Nebraska is weighing all those things. I think, again, the big one I think is DB right now. You really look and see how they close with Devin and Darian. If those two don't go their way, do they expand the board? Do they just kind of go all in on like a Tadarius Hughes? I'm curious to see how they move forward.
Yeah, you know what? I just get the sense they're not going to panic. I think they like their room.
Yeah, I agree. And they're young. I mean, they're super young there. Like, that's why it always felt interesting. Like, when the reason they made Danny Odom specifically such a key priority is that's a kind of cover corner type that they're about to lose in the Sierra right after this year. They need that kind of guy to come in that is just a pure cover guy, can track the number one guy. And Danny is that true, like, kind of dominant cornerback one that you kind of go all in for, which Nebraska kind of did.
That's our guy, Tim Verghese, Inside Nebraska. Tim, appreciate the time. As always, enjoy the holiday weekend.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, TV. Again, I've liked individual pieces. Like, I was a huge Bill Byrne guy, right? Obviously, Coach Osborne, fantastic coach. You've had great athletic department staffs that were kind of singularly led. When you talk about in its totality, you may have had greater individual pieces, but collectively watching Dannon and Rhule and Dr. Ilza and you've got a new general manager and Pat, like, the movement of navigating this is about as same pagey as I've seen. I don't know how it like lends itself to wins and losses, but thinking collectively, I haven't seen it. Because famously, as great as Bill Byrne was and Coach Osborne individually, collectively wasn't always copacetic, right?
Yeah.
So I am defending the brand and loving the brand is huge.
We're going to talk to Lauren Michelson from KETV coming up next.
Imagine your first dream home. and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Lauren Michelson of KETV. Lauren, how are you this morning?
Hello, guys. I am doing well. How are you both?
Hanging in there. I mean, listen, it's they were supposed to be the dog days of summer, and maybe it's coming up, but with camp opening in 3 weeks and Big Ten Media Days around the corner, it seems like did we pass it? I don't know. You work harder than me. Did you pass it?
Hey, let me tell you firsthand, we are in the dog days of summer because with College World Series now through and still a couple weeks until our Vegas trip, we are like scrapping for stories. Like even on the days off, we're sitting there firing out emails thinking, what the heck are we going to do to fill a 4-minute sports block at 10 o'clock on the weeknights?
What's it? You should just listen to the show. We do 3 hours every morning.
Hey, so there are a couple of hot takes that's right in your wheelhouse, Miss Kansas City Chief. So we were talking on one of the sports shows that leads into us last week. It was if Mahomes has another year like the last two, it's time to have the serious discussion that he may not be the best quarterback in the NFL with the emergence of Burrow and Allen. I get the sense that's blasphemy for you, but are you in agreement there?
Hey, okay, mad respect for Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, but Patrick Mahomes and my you know what I'm gonna say. What you're like feeding the beast here. Okay? Wait, what do you want me? Okay, like the bigger discussion is this Travis Kelce's final season, which I think absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And I love the guy, but it's time for him to go. Mahomes is he's fine. Everyone needs to calm down. Last year was a trying time for moments, but I have full confidence in this team now. Okay.
So you know what's crazy is Justin Simmons. There are guys in that locker room, and a little bit of it was Kelce's doing, like having seen him in training camp. He's getting like Trent Williams comparisons already. Like, oh my God. Is that nuts? Listen, he's fantastic. I did call him steal of the draft, right? If he was not hurt, he's a top 5 pick, right? So, but if can you imagine? Have you allowed yourself to dream if like he's who they think he is?
Yeah, but the injury thing freaks me out.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, didn't I see something yesterday about the Steelers trying to grab him? Like, am I crazy?
They won't move that guy. He's a mainstay. They'll be.
Hey, Damon, we're so close to trudging in on Sunday mornings talking about our NFL screens and what's going on with our teams. And
Oh, you know,
listen.
my beard is already gray over the Steelers. So all you guys do is play for AFC championships. We're trying to win a playoff game. You know, I'm struggling with Pittsburgh.
I listen to the complain like clockwork Sunday morning. You know, I'm ready for it.
After you get me to figure out how to use the computer and the replay clips.
Okay, what we need to do is figure out something way nicer than me like coming in 10 minutes before you on a Sunday, cutting up this film. And the worst part is I'm a pretty dang good editor, but trying to like spot shadow like these guys and do it quickly is driving me nuts. Like it is only July and I'm already like, good God, Sundays of the football season are fast approaching. We need to figure something out.
We'll work on it.
Okay. Good.
So, Lauren, as you kind of scrape the barrel for stories during this part of the summer, I guess what's the next big thing? You mentioned Vegas. What's the next big thing you're looking forward to in the sports department?
I mean, I'd be remiss if I said I wasn't excited to spend a week in Vegas. I don't know if Andy told you guys, but probably the highlight of my young career would be Andy convincing our bosses to allow us both to spend an entire week in Vegas for 3 days of Big Ten Media Days. So we will be there Monday through Sunday, and it's not like an early flight out on Sunday. It is the evening 9 o'clock flight out. It is going to be great just to honestly get that time, hopefully kind of one-on-one with Dylan especially, but then also once the work is done, I got girlfriends meeting me for that weekend. I think Andy has a buddy coming out, so it's gonna be dangerous.
I'm just saying that's a long time in Vegas.
You know who I'm Lauren will be fine. I'm worried about AK. Like,
worried about AK dragging me down.
like that guy can go. I mean, it's kind of legendary.
It is. They say Travel Kendi is a different beast. He's a good time. I will say that.
You know, the clocks are hard to find. You lose track of time. I'm gonna have to check on him. We're gonna be very efficient. We'll come in after the show on Monday and leave after the show on Wednesday. I was very happy that Nebraska's on day one. I don't need any more time in that city than required because all I'll do is eat.
Okay. Okay, I don't believe that. So you really want a quick trip?
I do.
Make it a one day.
I do. Been there. My batch. I've been to Vegas probably 6 or 7 times. I don't love it. It's definitely a place to visit and not to live. But they do have a good. Absolutely. I've already sent Ravi like I don't know 11, 12 restaurants. That's really all I care about.
He's just deep diving the TikTok off the strip.
Yeah.
Restaurant places below the radar. Like I think he's I don't know how we're only there for like a day and a half. I don't know how he's gonna fit 11 restaurants into that time period, but I don't doubt him.
I'll be out in the Pahrump area if you're looking for me. That's where I'm at.
Eating your way through Vegas sounds good. Hey, what I want to know is like what Nebraska's plans are because usually they go to that St. Elmo's Steakhouse in Indianapolis.
And I don't know if they could pull off the Golden Steer, but that would be my guess because that place is booked for like years. Mm-hmm. But
right,
I mean, they clearly know people. Maybe they'll try to pull off the Golden Steer.
Yeah,
because that would be the equivalent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. To the steakhouse, maybe one leg up.
Maybe. Lauren, I do want to go back. I know last week you were at the draft party of Hunter Sallis, and you were out there as he kind of went through that process. Obviously, didn't get drafted, but did get
Chucky
signed.
Was there.
Chucky was there, so I apologize. And
it's the Miller North and him coming out, Lauren.
Yeah, I mean, St. Thomas was there too, DB. What do you want to How was that experience as you're seeing these local guys? And obviously none of them actually got drafted, but then quickly get signed as undrafted free agents right after the draft. What was that process like, just kind of experiencing that with these local guys?
Yeah, so Chucky and Hunter actually had separate parties, but you saw a lot of their teammates at both. My coach Matt Tertilli was at Chucky's, I was at Hunter's, and I mean the coolest part is we do like an interview before the draft starts, and we're like just emotions, thoughts, and both these guys unprompted bring up how cool it is that there's other Omaha natives that are embarking on this journey, about to have their dreams come true in one way or another.
Yeah.
Just like a really unselfish mindset that I was super impressed with, and just the family atmosphere they both are so, big on. That was so cool. But then, as the night unfolds, I was at Baylor Shireman's a year ago, and he was the last pick of the first round, and even that was tough, because these kids, these young men are waiting, their whole lives for this moment. And with Hunter and Chucky and a few others, it didn't go exactly the way they wanted, of course, but he signs a 2-way contract with the 76ers. He gets off the phone with them. He's jazzed. He's like, they say they got a steal in me, and he's pretty pumped up and addresses the room. And he had to walk downstairs. We were at Let It Fly, and he, was waiting and waiting. It didn't happen. Walks downstairs, I'm assuming gets on the phone with them, and has to walk back up to a party full of people there for him. I mean, that takes guts.
Mm-hmm.
And so just really impressed with the way he handled it. He did all the interviews. He even was fine with doing a live interview with me for the 10 o'clock show, which, I would have never suggested. They suggested it. And I just thought that was super, super classy.
So interesting. Let me get you out of this, going back to Vegas with Lutovsky and Dylan and Deshaun. They're all a little different, right? Dylan's got the charisma. Lutovsky's the fun-loving, kind of the storyteller. And then there's Deshaun Singleton, who really is measured and chooses his words carefully. Mm-hmm. Of the three, do any surprise you, and what are you most interested in?
I think Lutovsky's more of a fascinating choice. I have no doubt his leadership on this team. I mean, he's been a mainstay within the program for so long, but his role is a little bit in question. What position is he going to play? The usual guard role, or will they try him at right tackle? So his position may be a little bit up in the air, but if there's one thing we know about Matt Rhule, is he doesn't do anything without intention. So he's very intentional with what he does. And I think, he chose these guys for a reason. Obviously, Rhule is the face of the program. That's no surprise. But I think I'm excited to talk to Lutovsky, and he's just going to provide some interesting perspective on the last couple years, but also just like culture-wise. That's a guy you want to talk to.
He's a great ambassador, too, of that room. He'll represent.
Yeah. So, I'm just excited in general. Like, Rhule is going to be great to have all that time. Like, when was the last time, or whenever, us in the media, have we ever had 45 minutes on a side podium to talk with him, just firing away and just super off the cuff? So it's going to be some rare, good opportunity to really learn more about him, I guess, when it's not just at a, press conference setting in Hawk. So I'm excited. It's going to be a good time.
You're disarming enough, but I'll give you a cheat sheet on Deshaun, because he's I'm fascinated by them kind of breaking the seal and introducing him to the national spotlight. He's pretty reserved and extremely measured.
Okay.
He's cool kid, cool young. Oh, I said kid, cool young man though. He carries himself like he's 50, so he'll fit right in.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm excited to talk to him, and he was granted that year of eligibility, and like his story is great too. Really, all three of them have good stories. Like, we're gonna get good content out of this, and it kind of sets the scene, as we know, for the year. So we're all chomping at the bit for football to start. Why not kick it off in Las Vegas?
Absolutely.
That's Lauren Michelson, KETV. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Lauren.
Lauren Michelson from KETV.
Interesting guys.
Yeah, it is interesting choices.
Yeah. On
who the representatives are.
I didn't get the surprise from Lutovsky.
He's going to start.
Yeah, dude is good.
One place or another, he's going to start. I'm not worried about that.
Deshaun is definitely interesting, though. I can't wait.
I think we've only got one question mark on the offensive line, and Lutovsky's not one of them.
Yeah.
In terms of who a starter's going to be.
They can play.
There's 4 of them that definitely going to start, and then we'll figure out the 5th one.
Yeah.
Well, Donnie will. I won't. I'll sit here and watch.
You got to keep watering the bamboo.
We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
That's a great question, and I thought it had been asked a lot earlier. Listen, I'll say this: there's a lot of unanswered questions as this thing will progress. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad the case was finally settled, and now we can move on with our lives. At least for the rules that we've heard. We had our league meetings in LA. We talked to our commissioner a lot about how this thing was going to take place. Talked to Troy Dannon in leadership of our athletic program about what to expect. And, listen, from everything we understand, revenue sharing is going to be the main source for these guys now. The true NIL deals are going to have to go through the clearinghouse that's run by a very reputable company with Deloitte. And, we'll see how that all plays out on what a fair market value is for somebody to be approved an NIL deal. But until we see, a deal that's rejected, which I don't think that's happened yet, what exactly the parameters are within an NIL deal getting approved.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
A lot of pace, definitely like high IQ. Feel like you really can't be as selfish a little bit. Like I said, just setting up other players. When I first got into the role, obviously it was a little nerves, my first time playing it, so I just had to go through that, the good and bad, and just take all that and, kind of just implement it now. Really.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you, if you're searching for your first home, next home, dream home, Centris Federal Credit Union has you covered with extensive local mortgage knowledge and programs to help you achieve home ownership. The team at Centris is here to help you throughout your home buying journey. Go check out centrisfcu.org, equal housing lender and federally insured by NCUA. And apparently the skies have just opened up on us.
Yeah. Well, is this?
It's like the second time this week this happened just out of nowhere.
Is this expected?
I think we're supposed to get a little bit this morning. I don't know.
How's the 4th of July forecast look? I'm not a big fireworks.
I'm hoping. I know I'm a curmudgeon here. I'm hoping it rains a little.
Oh, no, you don't want to rain on everybody else's parade.
I do, actually. I do want that.
That's just selfish. I'm not like cheering for rain on the 4th.
So here's what I'm saying. I want everybody to have a really nice time in the afternoon. Go to your cookouts. Maybe go like on the lake or something, whatever your thing's doing. Get your hot dogs and hamburgers if you're a weirdo and trust other people's hamburgers cooking. Not like me. Enjoy some time with the family. Maybe get some apple pie, whatever the case is. And then once it gets dark outside, torrential downpour.
Yeah, but it's not going to matter though.
No fireworks
because
it says sunny, then chance of thunderstorms late.
They'll just wait until the next night.
So all these different ordinances? I was watching Channel 7 the other day. I didn't realize there were such variants on.
Oh, like by where you're at in the
Sarpy,
city?
Douglas, and
yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Some were open on the 28th. Some couldn't open until such and such a time.
Some you have like the full week before. Some it's like July 1. I think some you have a full week after. I don't really know. I don't do fireworks, so I don't really care what the ordinances are. But we're trying to keep my dogs in line.
It was very boomy last night.
It was, yeah. It was
getting, it's very boomy. So I figured we must be in the.
We're in the window for sure now. Yeah. I also think some people are taking, like I think starting yesterday, people were starting to take the rest of the week off.
Oh, right.
I think so. They were like, kind of making it a long weekend.
So I saw the stories earlier when the preliminary stuff came out about the tariffs. Did it impact this year? For fireworks,
it probably would have been. The stuff probably would have been in country already by the time they hit.
Okay.
I would imagine. I think they typically get that stock in a little bit earlier.
All right. So
probably next year is when you're going to have ungodly prices for if they, unless they figure something out with a trade deal or something.
That's hard time.
That's my dude. I sent Shane like 85 Dusty Rhodes clips last night.
You big
Dusty. But we all got to do what we must. We got to keep on.
You big Dusty Rhodes guy?
I love him.
What about Red Panda?
And it's hot.
No. She came up. Why did we go off on the Red Panda tangent
a
couple months ago?
I think it's D. Marinas is not a fan. I believe.
Is that what it was? Because I remember we had a segment or two on her, and I was like, how'd we get here? And then there were, of course, the cultural jokes, which we can't. Actually, that was Wyatt.
We'll let Wyatt make those.
How old is she?
She's only 54.
And we're, Doc, like, are we? I didn't mean.
Doc, are we sure?
Yes.
What are you trying to say?
You're not getting me.
So that's Dusty Rhodes. Sorry, I was looking. I was like, she was born in Austin, Texas. Weird. Does not look like a native Texan. No, she was born in China, which is surprising, I guess. Her given name. Oh, so actually you're right. It does say so for on her Wikipedia page for born, it says circa 1970 or 1971. So you're correct that we don't really know.
Because I remember we went down this rabbit hole. Because she's certainly older than 54.
Yeah, I would have guessed her at like mid 60s on the low end.
That game was on TV too. Did they cut away?
I don't know. So a lot of times they're not showing the halftime act though.
Oh, with her they sometimes do.
Sometimes they'll like show going in and out of breaks or whatever.
So she biffed it, huh?
Yeah, she fell off the 7-foot-tall unicycle.
Is she cool?
She hurt her wrist. I don't know if it's broken, but she could not continue.
Oh, damn.
So there's
I wonder how many times she's fallen.
You would think a certain amount, just in practice at least. I don't think it happens very often live because it was
like I could see breaking some dishes and stuff, but not bones.
I mean, if you fall from that height and you land wrong, you're breaking a bone.
You're more apt to have whatever you're juggling fall than
her.
You're actually self-falling.
I'm sure as she was learning, she fell a lot.
I wonder how. I haven't seen the video. So, like, did the wheel just get?
I'm not sure. I didn't get a good look at it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a huge Red Panda guy.
Yeah, and this kind of morphed into.
I think she's.
We were talking about the cartoon that day too.
Yes.
I remember now.
So that was definitely Wyatt's fault, the cartoon part. But you brought it up.
It's always Wyatt's fault.
I mean, I don't want to start.
Did you just not catch his little one-liner here?
Oh no!
Again, something you cannot read.
I did not see it.
It's definitely for him to say, and not us. I can say the whole black don't crack thing, but
he said that before.
I have not heard that.
Really?
No.
Oh, he's put it in the chat before.
Oh, so sometimes you got to clue me into the chat.
I know. Sometimes I'm trying to look up other things like how old Red Panda is or is it?
I had a
Ken. Ken goes, is she single?
Hey, I'm gonna say this again. He's low key crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
I mean, proof's in the pudding, right?
I'm just saying, like, I feel like once you've seen the Red Panda experience, like I probably don't need to see it every year.
Yeah, I think we need to cue Matty D.
You know what I mean? Like,
which, by the way, I got to see another side of him or hear another side of him yesterday.
Yeah.
He was chasing his niece around.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't seen that.
He's like, and she's one, and he's like, I like to try to make it a habit to understand people. Like, I don't have, and she's just like yelling at it. He's like, I don't have any clue what she's saying to me right now. It's just funny to see him to hear him in that element.
Well, hopefully we can understand what our next guest is saying. Mitch Sherman from the Athletic.
A lot of clarity from Mitch.
Joining us now. Mitch, how are you this morning?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
Mitch, I am hanging in there. I had a question for you that I never got back to. I asked Ravi the other day, but having not seen him in person, it didn't register the same. Do you believe any bit of Ohtani being only 210 pounds?
Is that what he's listed at?
6'3", 6'4" on the Jumbotron, 210. There's zero chance Ohtani only weighs 210.
Right. I 100% agree with you. He's closer to 240.
That's what I said.
Be
240. Yeah, I said 240.
But I couldn't. I'm not. Technology is not my friend. I could not get a picture on the Jumbotron fast enough and pit it with him in the on deck circle. So I only got the on deck circle, and by the time it was off the Jumbotron. I'm like, stop telling me that guy's 210.
Is that why you sent me the picture of him from the field? Okay.
Yeah. Does that look
I thought maybe it was like, hey, look, the Dodgers got Ohtani and you don't.
I bet DB would trade him to you. He doesn't even like him that
My
much.
follow-up was supposed to be, this guy is not 210.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not
right.
Young,
my follow-up was fly out to left field because he did that.
That was
that's
cute.
Momentarily after the text came in.
Lazy fly ball.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, they listed David Ortiz at 230 for years, and there's not a chance that guy was tipping anything less than 275.
Hey, what do you want to see Kansas City do with Garcia?
Keep playing him. I don't know. I mean, he's the one piece or one of the few pieces in Kansas City that I'm not worried about. Like, I'm not.
Is he your long-term answer though at third?
I mean, I don't know that I'm ready to say that, but I think he's part of the long-term answer for the organization. I don't think they should use him as a chip at the trade deadline. Like, I think that they like what they have, unless they're just, which they're not. You know, with Witt and Caglione, who will get it eventually, sooner rather than later. He's going to come around. He's not going to hit like he is right now. It's just taking him some time to figure out big league pitching, but which is expected when you only played 2 months or a month and a half in the minors. But no, I think that Garcia should be part of their plan for the next year and beyond. So while he's hitting well and hey, he made a great diving catch when I was there on Friday night, which caused Kiki Hernandez to then throw the ball out of the stadium when he came out to warm up in left field the next inning. So that was interesting. But
I'm we're razzing Kike over that, and I did not have the backstory till an older gentleman was kind enough to fill me in on as what he called the childish antics from Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he was trying to, it looked like he was going to throw, there's that kids area back there behind the left field, behind the Hall of Fame. Like, he's going to throw it into there and like hit some 6-year-old who's swinging a wiffle bat, but maybe it got out of the stadium or they closed that thing down. I think it was the 9th inning when he did it, but whatever. I've never seen a player throw a ball out of a stadium.
Now, clearly, Mitch, you frequent that stadium more than I do. So the answer is probably no, but I was floored at how Bo Jackson jerseys dominated the fashion of the world at Kauffman. Does that surprise? Was Bo well represented when you're typically there?
Yeah, I do see his jerseys, and because I think it maybe just it flies over my head sometimes, like I don't pay attention to it. But my son notices it, and he's like, I've heard him say before. I've heard him point out like a Bo Jackson jersey. He notices everything at the ballpark.
It was by far and away the most, outside of Ohtani, it was the most popular jersey.
Well, that's surprising because I thought Witt was the most popular jersey along with Ohtani when I was there on Friday. Maybe a little different crowd on Sunday for your visit. I don't know. I was in a bit of a coma, a bit of a trance for much of the game because I had the Z-Man sandwich from KC Joe's in right field in the first inning. In fact, I was standing out there and I was so committed to getting the sandwich that I was going to miss Ohtani's first at bat, which I really wanted to see. But I was able. The line goes really fast, and I was able to get out of the line and pay and get some barbecue sauce on my sandwich, and then walk up to the railing in front of the fountains in right field, right as he faced, I think, the second pitch or the first pitch of the game, and he put the fourth pitch of the game into the fountains. So
and
hit it right at me.
And the least surprising DB admission ever, I can't stand eating food with my hands outside. So I'm trying to figure out watching you. Well, it's crammed and I don't want messy hands. In those seats, did you use your hands to eat the sandwich or plastic utensil?
You're not going to like it. So I was in a hurry because I wanted to see Shohei bat.
Yeah.
So I got out of the line and I got some sauce and I got some napkins. So I did have napkins.
Yeah.
But I realized as I was walking back to my seat, which was way over down the left field line, that I didn't have a fork. And I should have stopped at some other concession stand and just picked up a fork. Why would I not do that? But I went back to my seat because I was so hungry and the onion rings smelled good. And I did. I ate it all with my hands. And it was kind of gross, to be honest with you. I was just focused on not getting it on my shirt or my shorts.
How did you have enough room?
I was sitting on the aisle.
Okay.
Maybe that was part of it. I had an aisle seat and I was able several times. I took a break several times in eating the sandwich and set it down on the ground in the little basket in front of me. Yeah, I set it on the ground. Is that a problem? It was not. I didn't put the food on the ground, just the basket. And I use the napkins. Like I probably used 6 napkins, completely used them. So I did not want to lick my fingers in front of a bunch of people, like in front of 35,000 people. So I got good use out of the napkins, but no fork, no utensils. And it's a messy sandwich. I'll tell you that, especially once I put a ton of barbecue sauce
and now
on
it's not Chavez Ravine. Don't get me wrong. You can still get sushi there, but their food scene it's pretty legit. Like
they have a great ice cream place behind home plate that I went to later, and I did not feel like that was a good idea on Saturday morning. But after the Z-Man sandwich to get ice cream, that's overkill.
It's called balance, right? You gotta balance it out a little bit with the sweet, with the savory. Mitch, don't let him judge you over here. This I've watched this man take a fork and a knife to a chicken wing.
No.
In public.
Okay.
I mean, like, so
it's fine.
Don't accept judgment here.
It's fine.
You eat your Z.
I was judging myself a little bit for not getting a fork because I needed a fork. I would have been able to eat it much easier if I had a fork to clean up for myself. But I'm going to use my hands in general eating a barbecue sandwich. Like I would have picked it up and ate it. I just want the fork for like the
cleanup,
fallout.
Yeah, the cleanup.
I can't believe you just did that. It's fine.
Listen, we put a video of it on the internet. It's not like I exposed you.
Yeah, but people may have missed that. Anyway, Mitch, I'm curious because you know personalities and you studied coaches, and I went back and listened to Coach Campbell on Husker Sports Nightly with Jess talk about the expectation level for the culture, and he was talking about year 1 to year 2 to year 3, and year 3 is now defending the culture, defending the program as a player. I can't help but to think, especially watching Coach Rhule over these last handful of weeks, and he kind of had the social media where he kind of planted the flag with representing the program. You think we're going to get year 3 Coach Rhule defending the program? Can you see that as kind of the next evolution as he spends time talking to us in 2025?
Seems like it. I mean, I think he's probably already started with that. I think you see subtle adjustments and changes, and You could even say that like some of that is the way that he handled the spring. Some of that is evident in the way that he handled the spring and the way that he's handling the summer too. So we way overanalyze who Nebraska takes, and I think everyone in the media does this because it comes out around July 1st, and you're kind of starved for football stuff. Although not this year, there seems like there's been a lot of news this week, but it's a habit now to look at the Big Ten Media Days list and see who they're taking and go, ooh, like how can we analyze that? Like, what does that mean? Like, it doesn't really mean anything. It means like those were the guys that they felt would be good to talk, or maybe they didn't have a vacation plan, but right before preseason camp started. But the fact that they're taking Henry Lutovsky over, like, you could have taken Rocco Spindler really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And Rocco has only been in the program for a few months, but he's way more comfortable, I think, in front of cameras than most of the other projected starters. Certainly Lutovsky. Like Lutovsky's a guy
last year with Ben Scott as a guy that had only been in the program 1 year.
Yeah, and I mean they took Jeff Sims. I mean, I think there's a temptation now to just take guys who come in out of the portal. Like you could see Nebraska taking Dane Key or Marcus Watson-Trent. Like these are leaders on the team. But to me, that's like kind of part of defending the program is, no, we're going to go with the guys, put the guys out front who've been a part of this for at least the last year or two. So Lutovsky to me is somebody who can speak about the program. Rocco Spindler, for like all that he has to contribute and as valuable as he is, as important as he is, and I think he'll be able to speak for the program at the end of the season or during the season. But right now, like he's a guy who's been at Notre Dame for the last 3 years and has spent part of one off season in Lincoln. So I think that goes into, and I'm probably reading too much into it, but I think that goes into the decision to take Lutovsky because he is somebody who has, he represents Nebraska in a different kind of way than a player who just came from the portal.
Mitch, somebody asked us this earlier this week, and they brought up Lutovsky in both the media days representation and kind of amongst the starters on the offensive line. Is he a no-brainer starter for you this year?
Well, again, to overanalyze that choice to take him to Las Vegas, he kind of is now. The no-brainers to me coming out of spring were Pritchett, Spindler, and Justin Evans.
Mm-hmm.
So, why is my watch going crazy here? Anyway, I think it thinks I'm working out, which is alarming. But
we'll try not to.
It was the hot food take. That's what it was.
I don't know what's going on.
I can't believe this dude won't eat food outside.
But now I think I'd probably put Lutovsky in there. The thing is like, do you put him at right tackle, or do you put him at guard, the opposite of Spindler? So I don't know. I know he's adept and capable and has experience, practice reps.
Played pretty well.
Both. Yeah, where do you think he go? You're putting him at guard?
Ideally, I'd put him at guard.
Yeah, and then the question is, okay, so is it Gunnar Gatula at right tackle, or are you hoping to get one of the injured guys back?
It could be Canuck. It could be
Canuck.
Yeah. I like Canuck.
I like him.
I like Teddy too. So
and Gunnar played well last year.
And depending on, I don't know, what are you going to get out of a healthy Corcoran? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think Lutovsky belongs in that discussion of four without. I mean, I didn't hesitate yesterday when you asked me.
I think he's a starter. I'm just not entirely sure where.
Yeah, I hope it's guard, just for his sake to flourish and where he's comfortable. But you know, look at me and say, whatever these guys need, that's just how we get down, DB. And I would believe that too, because that's how Coach Raiola kind of has him. When you're looking at kind of more the defending of the program mantra, how much of it do you think not stems from just the necessary protocol of year 3, but the fact that they actually think that this team is pretty good internally? Like, what kind of driving force do you think that is?
I think it's a big factor. I think it's difficult to make that part of your main platform in the way that you go about your business to defend the program if deep down inside you don't have that belief about improvement and where Nebraska's at. I think Matt Rhule really liked where Nebraska's program was at going into year 2. Year 1, there were a lot of questions, and it's year 1 is year 1. That's like self-explainable. Year 2, I really think like in moments where, he wasn't, on the record, or I don't know, and not even talking to media. It just could be talking to among coaches, to his friends, like confidants, that kind of stuff. I think he still spoke highly of what he thought about that team. Like he believed in that team. And some things went sideways with Nebraska last year, absolutely. And there was some unexpected stuff. Like it just happens in a football season. They righted the ship a little bit at the end, but it took some pretty dramatic change from him to some unorthodox stuff to salvage. That's really, it was headed in a direction that I don't think that anybody thought it was going to go. They didn't envision a 4-game losing streak in October going into the start of November. So this year, I think he has still an even higher opinion of what he believes the team can be. Last year, for whatever it was that was pumping up his excitement, you still had a true freshman quarterback, and there's going to be ups and downs. This year, that's a different story. Like, not only is he not a true freshman, he's I think a trusted piece and has come a long way in so many different areas that can help you and translate to better play on the field.
Mitch, speaking of maybe defending the program, depending on how you took it, what did you make of Coach Rhule tweeting out a couple days ago, too many people have profited financially off of negativity and despair. Their time is over. Did you have what struck you? What did you think he was talking about in that moment?
I don't know. The first thing was like, oh, okay. He's just like blowing off some steam on a Monday night. That's the first thing I thought. Like, this isn't that big of a deal.
Maybe the wasn't very good at the Cape. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. He's settling down for a 4th of July in New Jersey and just said, here's my final 2 words. Like, I'll sign back on the social medias next week and, find out that thousands of people have interpreted this in whatever way that they choose to. I
was going to see it right.
I very naively kind of just thought like, this is not a big deal. Like, nobody's going to really care about this. Whatever. It's just Rhule being Rhule. And he's just, like when he would tweet emojis for just to see what the reaction was going to be way back in year 1. But I was mistaken, because everyone who has a take and a platform to share it has thoughts, and they think that they know what he's talking about, when the reality is I don't know. And Damon, you don't know. Do you know? Like, did you
sure?
I don't know. Like, is it, I have no, I could guess, and lots of people have guessed, but I can't say with certainty that I know.
So let me ask you something, Mitch, because maybe.
Oh, so you know?
I plead the 5th for fear I may incriminate myself. I don't know. I'd totally be speculating, but I do want to ask you something, because you can help me, and I need your help, because I didn't mean for this to sound like a hot take, right? Because Bill Byrne was probably my favorite. Coach Osborne is clearly the most accomplished. And neither of those guys had to really – you can even factor in staff too, the surrounding staff. But neither of those guys oversaw errors with the support staff needing to be what it is in 2025. So I said, this is probably the most cohesive and collective bunch of group thinkers that I've seen since I played, where I think the athletic director, the coach's vision, the support staff, and the strength of the assistant coaches is at an all-time cohesive bunch. I don't know how it lends itself to wins and losses, but in terms of being like-minded and defending the university and what it's capable of, I haven't really seen this. Is that a hot take for you, or does it make sense?
Is it? Yeah.
You may have had a better individual AD or a better individual, but collect the team, the pieces, the sum of the parts.
Okay, so sure. I don't think it's that hot of a take. I mean, I think that I think the people around Troy Dannon and under him all appear to be very competent. And when you have conversations with like Kristen Brown who is in charge of women's sports, or with Haven Fields, and then you get into the football program and you talk to like Kristen Coggin or Mitch Cholowinski, and I'm talking about people who are all in like senior type leadership roles, like lieutenants for Dannon or Rhule. All of them come off to me as very good at, like the appearance is really good. Like when you meet them, you're going to walk away impressed. I don't have the luxury of being able to sit with them for like an entire day and watch them go about their job and say, oh yeah, I know. And even then, would you really know for certain, like how effective, efficient, everything they are? It would take more studying, but like it looks good on the surface. I think it's good. Like it appears to be like a very buttoned up, well-run, nicely structured organization within the athletic department and within the football program. But part of it to me, and part of the reason that I don't think it's a hot take, is because it's kind of obvious. Like in the days when Nebraska athletics was just a machine, you go back to when Bill Byrne was the AD, like 30 years ago. They didn't have that many. They didn't have anywhere close to that many people in these kind of roles. It was like three or four people doing the jobs that you now have like 10 or 12 to do. And part of it is that there's more to do now. And there's so many different areas that you have to pay attention to, and things that didn't exist in football or in college sports 30 years ago that are prominent now. But like, I think it looks great because there's so many people in the positions to do the job.
Even just with Bill Byrne and Coach Osborne, just two individuals, head coach, athletic director, there didn't always come across as this unified, cohesive, collective, hey, we're moving, I want to move in the same direction. And that's just with two.
Yeah, you're right.
Know what I mean?
Right. It didn't. And there were ebbs and flows of that, like at the end for sure. But right. I totally agree. Even before Coach Osborne retired and went over Bill Byrne's head to pick his successor, like even before that, there was plenty of there. What's that?
I wasn't exactly going there, but yeah. I mean,
okay. Well, no, I mean, that's like the most obvious example of how the two of them were not on the same page. But there were other things. I mean, you might even say like Nebraska's decision to join the Big 12 was something that they didn't see eye to eye on. So yeah, absolutely. Like there wasn't the cohesiveness, but I mean, I think they were both like so like level-headed and like business focused that whatever like personal differences and disagreements that they might have had over an issue, big or small, like they were able to set it aside and ultimately do what they believe, like come to some kind of an arrangement where they believed like they were making the best of the situation. Like it wasn't dysfunctional in the way that we have seen athletic director, football coach, relationships work, the dynamic work other times in the past 20 or 30 years. Plenty of times it's been dysfunctional and detrimental to the success of the team. But and they're at a place right now where I do not see that. I do not see. I see efficiency and a unified front.
Mitch, would you make the case that this is the most difficult era in the last 25 years to navigate on top of that? Or
it's good that they have a lot of people. It's good that they have that the staff is deep. So that makes it that takes away some of the difficulty. Like if you were trying to do this with the size staff that Nebraska had 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you'd be in deep. But it's more complicated to think about the stuff that's on Nebraska's plate as an athletic department right now. And if you want to compare it to 2015 or 2005, it's night and day different. I mean, just the revenue sharing and everything that comes with that is a huge hornet's nest that just wasn't there. So, and it goes way beyond that. Like it's a lot. I mean, we used to say that college football or college sports is like it's big business. It's, compared to a Fortune 500 company, and it pales in comparison to what you see today. If it was a Fortune 500 company, then it's something way beyond that today in 2025.
Mitch, it's kind of funny to me the how unified things at least appear to be at Nebraska, because you look at it, you go, okay, typically when you see that in a athletic department, you have an AD who hired the head coach, and now they're all on the same page.
That's a good point.
Like the fact that this is a AD that was brought in, it seems they're even more aligned with Dannon, and I'm not hating on Trev, but then they even were with Trev, who brought Rhule in the first place. Like that feels like, I don't know. I kind of made jokes at the time. It's like, yeah, I wonder if they ran the AD hire past Rhule, because it sort of seemed like he was running things at the time. But
they clearly had to.
They definitely did.
Yeah, like
100%.
Like it does seem like there is this even greater level of unity with a guy that didn't hire him than with the guy that did.
Is that maybe? I'll ask you guys this: does that maybe speak a little bit to the personalities of all three who we're talking about here? Like
that's something. So that's
where I would have gone with Dannon versus Alberts.
That's definitely something, because like I said, when I first said what I said about the like-minded thinking, there's been greater individual pieces in the respective roles, right? Like I said, obviously T.O.'s the most accomplished coach. Byrne was arguably the best of the athletic directors, but together, I don't know if they got the best out of each other, right? For that stretch of college athletics. That's why I'm making the case for the sum of the parts here and the way that they work together. I don't really remember the last time I've seen it that cohesive.
It's a great point. Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great point, and I also like what Ravi brought up about inheriting a football coach and what the history says about coaches who were inherited. It hasn't gone well. There are places in the country where you can find that it has. I mean, Rhule's not like completely alone in being a football coach who's set up to succeed for an athletic director who didn't hire him. There are plenty of examples out there where that happens, but in Nebraska, it has not happened, right? And maybe part of that is because all of the football coaches who've come before Rhule, going all the way back to Osborne, ended their times ended badly. But for the most part, when a new AD has come in, it's spelled doom for the coach in that chair. And Rhule, you can safely say, is like breaking the mold in that way. So at least so far. Like, they got to play this season, but at least so far, it looks like it's going that way.
I do think there's a part of it, not to answer my own question or anything, but you kind of threw it back on us, so I'll allow myself in this moment. Like, I do think part of it is it really doesn't seem like Dannon cares about getting credit, and it's really easy to align with someone like that, where I've made a lot of jokes about Trev. I think Trev was good at his job.
He wasn't even the worst of the bunch.
I do think Trev wanted
that's
credit.
That's not the example I would have used
for the AD. But I just mean directly for the Rhule example.
I mean, Mitch, you've seen it all. Like,
if you want to talk about ADs getting credit, yeah.
I mean, Trev is probably the worst.
Trev is third on the list.
Peterson's is Peterson the worst?
Yeah, and Bill Moose like to get credit
up there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Peterson would be at the top of the list. Yes.
Like I'm just telling you, like, and I think the thing that I'm so enamored by is the range in which they have to operate at a high aptitude, like just the level of being a forward thinker, right? You can't be a guy that's going to bitch and moan and needs things to be crystal clear before you can function at a high level. these guys and gals can clearly operate in the murk and still come across as thinking real collectively. Like I think I don't know, man. I think it'd be incredibly difficult to play a game in which you don't know the rules and to have everybody play it the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just like a quick thought here on to expand on that subject. Like, imagine being Matt Rhule and trying to strategize on how to put together this 2026 recruiting class from the months of, let's just say signing day last year when you got done, you put the cherry on top of the 2025 class. So from December through May and June of this year to say we have to figure out the way to put this class together, but we don't know how many people we're going to be allowed to have on the roster in 2025. Like it could vary. It could swing by like 20 bodies. We may have to be at a hard 105. Yeah. And for a while, it looked like they were going to have to
at a minimum 15.
Yeah.
Right? That's a
lot. Right. He was recruiting and strategizing to put a class together with like 1.5 hands tied behind his back. And then in June, they got clarity. On June 6th, they got clarity. And they were told with the House settlement that they could count old players who were on the roster. They wouldn't have to count against the 105. And all of a sudden, it opened up. And you're able to recruit without a hand tied behind your back. And look what's happened since then. The class went from 2 to 12. And all of a sudden, it appears to be right on track with where they wanted to be at the end of this thing.
Yeah, Tony, one of our listeners brings up a good point because Remington, and this was kind of one of his things when he wanted to streamline the athletic department. I mean, Remington did say out loud, he's like, there's a lot of people in this athletic department. It's just crazy how in like 8 short years.
I do think it's funny though, because
it's changed quite a bit.
It's sort of the thing that people talk about, like, hey, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, that's fine as long as everybody's on the same page. I think that was the bigger issue.
And as long as they all have defined roles. I think that I've seen examples in the past of people in the athletic department who had big titles, but they didn't have defined roles. I think they do. I think for the most part they do now.
Wow,
that's a good point.
I'm gonna have to take off and run with this one. He always does that to me, though.
Mitch,
this segment will last another segment and a day because of some of the stuff that you say.
That's why you can only come on every other week. Otherwise, that's all the content we would get to.
We'd never get to a rundown.
Like we do anyway. Mitch.
Well, the summer craziness is almost over, so like baseball's about done. So thank you for and vacationing and all that. Thank you for and Shane, really, not you guys, but thank you to Shane for just like continuing every time you would tell me, hey, you're scheduled to be on the show this week. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm like, I'm doing this or that. But now we're starting to get back to normal. It's July, and we got 3 weeks until 3 weeks. 3 weeks from yesterday, we'll be talking in Nebraska and Vegas.
I always love the fact you always have a different angle, Mitch. So you're probably like, this whole Dylan guy, 45 minutes, open session, no big deal. I'm going to talk to take Deshaun Singleton. He will challenge your high level thinking skills, and you'll come up with a good angle. Pick Deshaun Singleton's brain. He is extremely interesting if he'll give you what's in there.
Good. I hope we get that, because that's one thing I miss in like this new way, this modern way of the access to players, where 95% of it is them standing at a podium taking questions from 20 people. Like, you miss the opportunities, and they still exist in some situations, but to be able to sit down with a guy one-on-one and really talk to him. And while part of Big Ten Media Days is that big group, like they're there long enough for an entire day that if you want to, you'll be able to talk to him one-on-one. And Deshaun's one of those guys that I think would be great to get to know better.
He's interesting.
That's our guy, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, appreciate the time. As always, great stuff. Have a good holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Be safe.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. You too.
That's Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
Fancy neighborhood Mitch lives in. They probably have
they've definitely got some HOA rules about fireworks.
He kind of talked about that. Remember when he was telling the story about, I was making fun of his neighborhood. envisioning based on the descriptive clues.
Okay.
Remember when you just moved the?
I have no idea where he lives.
Moved the lawnmower inside.
Yeah.
To put it together and then coming back out with his neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of hobnobbing. I was like, yeah, that's that vibes with about the picture I have in my head.
Oh no, it's a snowblower. I thought it was a snowblower.
Oh, it was a snowblower.
Yeah. He brought the snowblower inside.
I don't know. Shane, you're not a big 4th of July guy either, are you?
Not so much. I mean, I get to see some relatives, so I mean that's fun. But
I'm a big. Oh, sorry, Shane. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna
he
say,
got his flowers. Mitch gave them to me. Shane's good for the rest of the year.
I got some words for that.
I'm proud of you and thank God I have you. And I love you. Love you.
I'm a big daytime 4th of July guy.
Yeah.
Like I like hanging out and like if you go to a lake or you go to somebody's pool or you're like cooking out, whatever. Like I like the daytime 4th of July. I'm good after dark. I'm a pass.
Yeah. Did you Mitch said something interesting. He said a lot. The people that are going to the deal, and there's always a method to the madness. I usually ask him, because remember, was it a side session or to us where he talked about guys that he could have brought? He talked about Jamari and
because he wants it to be like a privilege that you get to go.
And there were some guys that he's kind of kicking himself over that they could have
brought.
It's clearly a big deal, and it's very intentional. I thought Mitch said an interesting point about a representative of the story that they want to tell. Like that was kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
A guy like Lutovsky over, a polished guy like Spindler.
Well, a guy
which speaks volumes because Coach Rhule has used guys that haven't been in the program that long. And listen, he hadn't either.
Yeah.
As is just going into the second year last year. But remember, Ben Scott was there and Sims.
Although he had
the year before.
Yeah, so Sims is the closest one, right? Because Ben Scott had been here a full year.
Yeah.
Last year. Yeah. Sims was just coming right in just like everybody else was, but so was Coach Rhule, right? Like they had been there basically the exact same amount of time, right? So I do think it's interesting. I do think it's really interesting with the putting it in the sense of representative, not just of the program, which I think all those 3 guys are good representations of the program, but of the specific story Nebraska wants to tell. Like Lutovsky is a great example of that because he's a guy that's stuck around. He's a guy that's been patient. He's a guy that's worked hard and basically does everything you would ask of a Nebraska football player. Like he's a great example of, and honestly, that may be the reason Deshaun's here too, of the story they want to tell.
A guy that came back, why he came back, didn't have to come back, would have tested really well at the combine or at Pro Day or wherever he had an opportunity to, and a guy that sort of persevered through. Like we've talked about how like he didn't necessarily play super great at times last year. And he's kind of worked through some of that, and he's persevering. And he's trying to come back to a room where he's not. Out of those 3 guys, like Deshaun's the one that I'm not sure is guaranteed a starting spot. He's probably the one that I am.
Okay, well, I mean Dylan, but
because I think the roles are fairly. I don't know. Like I kind of know what's going to happen behind Buford. The spot where I don't think they're as. I think they need to find another rover type. They don't have a lot. I mean, you've got
the Gifford spot.
You've got Singleton. I think Branch is a guy that can play it. You don't have a ton of like rover types.
You think Singleton would do better at that spot than he did where he played last year?
Yes.
Because I thought he got.
Yes, I think.
Maybe lost is the wrong word,
I think
but
he's got a really good chance to get down into the box and get busy.
Who else would be a guy that you're like, hey, get downhill? I like that guy.
I like Branch.
Okay.
I think he's smart. I think he's confident. I think he's fearless. Because you start getting into like.
Does he process quickly? Because that's the thing.
Branch is extremely bright.
Because if I had to pick a thing that bothered me about Gifford last year, was it felt like sometimes he was late making the decision.
Now, the one thing I don't know about Branch, and I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he gets a ton of reps, is I don't, like if you ask me about like his athleticism and all that, like I don't really know.
About his overall like athletic profile?
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair.
He does have good size. And I know he's ridiculously smart. So like those are things I feel confident saying. Like, you start talking nickels. I mean, Caleb, he dabbled a little bit in trying to learn the rover spot.
So I was going to say, like, coming off of, and not just because he's your kid, but like coming out of high school, I would have thought of Caleb as a rover type because that dude loves coming downhill and hitting people.
Yeah, and he's a good tackler in space.
And he's gotten bigger.
Yeah,
like where he could withstand kind of the physical rigor of that. Like that's the guy. Like I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if that's where they want him. I don't know anything.
Kind of deal. He can play the posts.
Yeah,
and he could play the nickel too.
Yeah.
So, but you got so many options, right? I mean, at the nickel, you could play Hartzog. I think Donovan could be a good nickel. I think Kahn could be a good nickel.
Do you think Donovan's just going to end up playing corner, or you think they're going to move him around?
I don't know, man.
Because he looked pretty good in the bowl game.
It is really, really competitive.
Yeah.
Like
Sierra is the only guy at corner. You feel like that's a guy.
So you got DJ, you got Sierra, you have Amari, you have Marshall.
Kahn's a safety, right?
No, I think Kahn could play some nickel too.
Really? What are they doing with? Is Bly Hill still in the mix?
Bly's a corner. I like Bly.
Yeah, at the other corner spot with Sierra. Because that's a guy that, I mean, a year ago before the injury in the spring game, like that guy was penciled in as a starter.
Let me just I'll just rattle off some corners. Okay. You got Andrew Marshall, Sierra Ray, Bly Hill, Amari Sanders, Donovan Jones, Jeremiah Charles.
What are they doing with Tarver?
I didn't get there.
Okay. Okay. I was asking.
Not no indictment.
Yeah.
Use Tarver's good. Tarver got rips.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right?
That's why I asked. Yeah.
Just stay right there.
Okay.
That's.
Oh, we got 6 guys we named off.
Yeah. Pick 3 in the rotation.
Yeah.
And feel good about it.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about guys that you said are playing they're playing some nickel.
I don't count those guys.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Nickels are nickels. That's the Hartzog types.
Yeah.
That's the
You brought up Kahn, might be playing some nickel. I think that, man, there's a lot of depth there. This is why a couple weeks ago, before the Odom commitment, when people were kind of losing their minds about CJ Brana, and I was like, guys, like of the spots that they can afford a decommit or they can afford this and that and maybe not getting a guy, like I'm not worried about the defensive back room.
Oh,
There's 21 guys after this year that are still like sophomores or less.
And it'll be highly competitive.
And I think they like all the guys they brought in.
So, I mean, who knows what you're going to get out of Little Buford.
Yeah.
I mean, Rio's an option. Obviously, Caleb's an option. I think Guthrie's an option.
Is Little Buford a little longer than older one? He's leaner, right?
I just think he's an interesting case study.
Okay.
Little Rio is an interesting case study. We'll see what happens with Rhett,
Oh, yeah.
So
I know that's a guy a lot of people are excited because he came from Georgia, so people get excited about the transfers from big time schools.
They definitely, it's like Butler said, it will be, without any preconceived notions and guarantees, it will be a highly competitive room. Like it'll be a good camp.
That's what you like to hear.
Competitive stamina will be at the utmost. What did I tell you from the jump when I first started to see this class come together last year to start the season? What I would tell when Addison Williams got there, when they named Butler DC, when Coach Snow came in, I said, look, my advice to anybody in that secondary is just because it was doesn't mean it always will be.
Yep.
And that can be to the good or to the bad.
Absolutely.
The competitive stamina will be at the utmost because you're going to get coached up.
Yeah.
You are going to get coached up.
Well, I mean, you think about it.
When a guy can divvy up corners between Addison Williams and Phil Snow.
Yeah.
So, probably getting coached up.
So that's the thing people forget about too is like Phil Snow, they're like, oh yeah, you got to need another defensive coordinator in the room. You also have another defensive backs coach in the room.
He's a technician.
Like that dude is a defensive backs guy first.
Listen, he's as good as it gets.
Yeah. So you've got 3 guys. You've got an NFL quality defensive backs coach as your defensive coordinator. You have one of the best to do it in recent years, and Phil Snow as your consultant, defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach. And they got Addison Williams, who was a defensive coordinator, now back as your defensive backs coach. Like, if you can't get coached up in that room, that's a you problem.
So it's just important to just come every single day. Just take instruction, get coached up, maximize the reps. Take instruction, get coached up, maximize the reps. They're just not going to have time to kind of be in your fields and moping around, man. You better go get it, because they're also upgrading on offense too in terms of the looks you're getting. So you better have a short memory, because you will get got. You better have a short memory. I'm just telling you.
We'll take a quick break here before we close out the show. I want to remind you, though, we are going to be off Friday and then all of next week, but we do have some content scheduled for you during this time frame throughout the week as well. So we're not going to leave you hanging. We'll be back.
Well, you left me hanging.
We'll left with.
Okay.
Listen,
I know you wanted to give me some downtime.
I want to give you a little break. Give you a little chance. I'm making Austin and Rico do all the work.
So really suave.
Yeah, making Puerto work.
Although I'm not going to kid you. I'm not even going to hold you, man. Austin does grind.
Oh, yeah, he does.
That dude grinds.
I appreciate him being here this morning, making sure our setup was right.
And he got in and out.
Yeah.
By the time I washed my hands, he was gonzo.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So
is he a go back and get in the bed kind of guy?
No, he's a go to the office kind of guy. Who do you think is getting the clips and stuff up real time? That's both of them.
Oh, okay.
They're taking care of us.
All right then, AJ.
So we'll have content for you next week, but we'll be back with live shows a week from Monday, so we can get ready to roll with Big Ten Media Days, football season, all of that good stuff as well. We'll wrap up the show today, coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time, because you don't want to rehearse it, because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them. All the success is great, and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
Where you gonna go when the ship breaks? You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Exciting on the field stuff. What's been your favorite moment on the field, or something, a certain act that you guys have done? What would you say?
Obviously, my most exciting is my 4-1-1, my dance. When I do my dance during the game, that's the most exciting part for me. But we've had some amazing people come out and play for the Bananas. We've had Dirks Bentley, which that guy's amazing in his own right. He's so humble, such a great guy, and I can't wait to hang out with him after the season's over. But we've had major league players come out and just like, man, this is the most fun I've had on a baseball field ever. And these are guys that won World Series. Like they feel the energy, they bring their family gets to see them do something again. So it's really special.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where you can get all the summer specials, whether it's the Cajun shrimp wrap, the pulled pork sandwich, the Chicago dog, the Philly steak pizza, or I know DB's favorite, the pineapple cocotini, right up your alley. They've got you covered here at Hurrdat Sports Bar.
I know I typically stand for your slander.
I forgot.
But the coconut is where I draw the line.
I forgot. You're more of a breezy blackberry lemonade guy.
The coconuts and blacks, huh? That's what we're on. That's fine.
Blackberry.
I know what you're trying to do. That's where I draw the line. The other race jokes, that's fine. the calling me out of the wings and the knife and the fork, that's fine. Did you? How about KB with just the DB ... Did that not just ooze disappointment?
It did. It was like he was talking to his child, like, what are we doing? No, full disclosure, I kind of get it. I don't love getting wing sauce on my hands. That's part of the reason and I know I take a lot of heat for this, I'm a boneless wings guy. That's part of the reason I prefer boneless wings, because you do the knife or you do the fork. You just pop them in.
So I got the little baseball beverage at the Royals game.
Yeah.
And
does it come in a little baseball?
It's like a clear
baseball.
That's
cool.
You can get like a baseball, a mason jar, or the cup.
Oh yeah.
I chose the baseball because it fitted my hand. I was so ask JB. Actually, you can ask Brett too, but I was so paranoid eating my peanuts that the shells would not somehow work their way into the glass. Mm-hmm. It was tucked so far. This is terrible radio, but I'll show you. Whenever I wanted to get my drink, I was like,
yeah, like under.
And it would take me like 60 seconds to come back up because I was so deep back. It was practically touching the step behind me. And every time I drank it, I would look inside to see.
Make sure there's nothing in there.
Is there any residue in here?
So
has
like,
anything loosely fallen?
You're like cracking the peanut, shelling them.
It was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Is shelled peanuts at a game.
Pre-shelled?
Oh, is that already in the shell?
Wait, no. Okay. So they're in, you're cracking them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I
go ahead?
A little circle of trust here.
Oh, God.
No, this isn't about you. I'm throwing somebody else under the bus here.
Okay. The equal opportunity buster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So our colleague Kenny Bell. Mm-hmm. So I went to a College World Series game with him a couple weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. He had some of the most serial killer behavior I've ever seen in my life. My dude, so he gets peanuts for the game, whatever. He's a big, I appreciate he's a big like food at the ball game guy.
Yeah.
Like I want to go, I want to eat, I want to have all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, so we're having some, you know, afternoon beverages and stuff. He gets the peanuts, just throws them in his mouth.
Me too sometimes.
Shelled?
Yeah.
He was chewing and swallowing the shells.
Okay.
So he made me try it, and I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, because I thought it was going to, like, cut my throat.
It's fantastic. Sometimes I don't.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm the same way.
You'll eat the shell?
Yeah. Where I typically draw the line, it just depends on, I'll always look at my nails and see, are they getting worn down?
From cracking?
From cracking.
Okay.
How do my thumbs feel?
So it's a fatigue issue for you.
And if I don't feel like it, then I'll just. So if I get a worn spot in my mouth with sunflower seeds from holding, spitting.
No, don't tell me. No.
I just eat the seeds.
Oh, my God. That's so much worse than even the peanuts.
It's not.
No, it is.
The peanuts taste delicious.
Listen, the peanuts weren't bad. I thought it was.
I'm riding with. Did you not watch him eat back there in the corner?
Oh, he like housed that thing.
He has some tendencies eating that are kind of disturbing. But who am I to talk, right? So
I shouldn't be surprised that you're riding with him with eating the shells. I can't believe you're eating the shells on sunflower seeds. Now that's psycho behavior.
Well, they're flavored now. Have you not had the bacon ones?
They're basically like fiberglass going down. Like, what are you doing?
I mean,
you wonder why you were in digestive distress the other night. Like, it's because you're eating.
That was probably salmonella. Yeah.
It's because you don't refrigerate meat.
I hadn't even been home, so you can't blame it on the room temp. I hadn't been home.
Can I ask a question? I'm being genuine here. Is the eating the shelled peanuts a cultural thing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that a fair question?
It's fine because we both happen to be non.
You're the only two people I've ever met in my life that were just like, boom, yeah, let's eat the shelled peanuts.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with that.
Okay.
I think it's a fine way to digest a peanut.
Can I ask you guys a question? Within the wake of you going to Kansas City to see the Royals, do you guys do?
I did not go to Kansas City to see the Royals.
He went to Kansas City to see the
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
I went to Kansas City to see the Dodgers.
Shane.
The Royals just happened to be there.
Pretty much. It was just the closest place you could go see the Dodgers.
Correct.
So do you?
That is 100%.
I understand that. I've done it with the Red Sox before.
And I would have done it with I wanted to do it with the Cubs earlier.
Yeah.
And Damon, you strike me as one that doesn't. But maybe I'm wrong here. Do you guys do the extra stuff when you guys go to games? Like,
there's nothing extra about me.
Or you just go in, you just get to the game and then get out?
Yeah, so it rained really, really hard when we got there, so we sat in the truck.
What do you mean by extra stuff?
Oh, I mean, you could
I'm genuinely asking. I don't know what you
mean. Go get on the Ferris wheel or something?
Any of that stuff.
No.
I mean,
there's a Ferris wheel at Kaufman now?
Well, they had the fun zone.
Oh, okay, at the fun zone.
You know, I mean, it could
where
be.
he thought Kike Hernandez was going to nail it, like hammer a kid in the head with a baseball.
The guy explaining it to me over my shoulder was hilarious. He was just, definitely a season ticket holder and did not see so well out of one of his eyes. So he always looked this way when he was telling me the story. And I'm to his bad eye.
Mm-hmm. So he has to go all the way around.
So he had to turn all the way around.
So he could get you out of the good eye.
And in my head, as he's telling me the story about Kike Hernandez, I'm like, please just act like you're playing cards. Sit still. Don't give it away that looks like it hurts and you want to get in his other sight line. Because what I wanted to do is come over where he didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to come across as paying attention to his bad eye.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's very hard.
I do that sometimes.
It's very hard.
You know, there's sometimes where you have somebody that they've either got like a walker or they're in a wheelchair or something, and you're like, I want to hold the door to be helpful, but I don't want to like be assuming that you can't do it yourself. And there's kind of those awkward.
How mad do you think Mitch was getting ready to get at me when I was going to critique him eating his sandwich that way? He's like, what is that? Should I not do that? I was like, whoa. I'm not. I don't want to go there. I'm just saying.
I think he was mad at himself that he didn't pick up a utensil at some point.
So there's a lot of things I wouldn't eat outside.
Yeah.
Anything with sauce that could get more things to cling to it in the outside, and that I have to use my hands.
I mean, I know people think I'm a psycho.
I would bypass that whole sandwich out of GP. Just
Gary Payton?
General principle. It's just not user friendly enough.
I mean, listen, people give me a hard time. I am a plain hot dog at ball games guy.
Are you messy?
No, but I don't like getting stuff. Like, I'm kind of with you. I don't like eating when there's not like a surface to
Yeah,
put
you
my
don't
food
even
on.
have anything to put it on.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed traumatizing
So,
to
like-
have him. And have you seen those sandwiches?
No, but I can imagine it's like a messy barbecue sandwich. It's like
and
an
stuff
oversized.
doesn't stay where it's supposed to.
Yeah,
It's
it's
going to fall out of the
oversized.
sides.
Yeah. Anytime that's one of the, like, I'm telling you, the hot dog, it's self-contained. I'll go chicken tenders sometimes because they're pretty clean.
Yeah.
Chicken tenders and fries. You got like the basket or whatever. But I'm probably not doing a sandwich. I'm probably not doing anything saucy because I feel like anytime you're kind of sitting in a seat, right? I don't want it to get on my clothes as much as anything. I can wash my hands, but I can't get a new shirt at the game.
I was looking at Joe's trailer hitch on his work truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, we were walking in and they had these 3 monster smokers.
Mhm.
And I could see all this wood.
You're just like, hey, hook that thing up.
And I
Let's
was
go.
like, man, you know how long that wood would last me? I was like, I should see if I could ask them where they got that wood from. It's probably just your standard wood that I could go get down at Ace, right? But the smokers were so big. I'm like, do you know what I could do with that thing commercial-wise?
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd put it, but
Cornflicted has been popcorn at games guy. Popcorn's easy. It's clean. You're not a
Okay.
big popcorn guy, though, are you?
Listen, your hands aren't clean.
I mean, if you just get regular ass popcorn, you're fine. What are you doing? What kind of popcorn are you getting?
I'm talking about just in general.
No, just like regular ass popcorn. You're fine. Just
Eating popcorn outside sounds like a miserable experience.
no.
Something's probably landed on it. Your hands are dirty, number one. You're just going to keep shoveling them in your mouth? Let's just say you sit down in the goddamn seat to put the little thing down. Your hands go here.
You can take an alcohol wipe with you. Wipe your hands off.
Now it's probably not the time to say that the clear bag policy does not include liquid gel. You have to get rid of that because
Got
I
it.
carry that thing.
You're antibacterial hand gel? Yeah. I usually keep some in my car.
I get it. I seem like a psychopath, but it's fine. I don't judge. If that's your style, like knock yourself out. Parker, I bet Parker had to have eaten. I don't know, man. The dude ate a ton. They ate on the way home.
I mean, how old is he? Like 18?
17.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get after it.
Dude, he's a rail too. That my man could put it down. I had to give him. I leaned over behind Brett. I gave him the old shoulder rub. I was like, dang, man, that's pretty impressive. He had no idea what I was talking about. He probably just getting the back rub. He knows I'm weird though. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll go plain hot dog. I'll go popcorn. I don't mind popcorn. I'll do like a soft pretzel. I don't mind a soft pretzel.
I do to some degree miss cheese popcorn.
Yeah, dude, popcorn. I like popcorn
Because I haven't. I miss it, and you know, as much as I have to go talk to Verghese and talk myself off the ledge, I pass a popcorn place every time.
Yeah,
every time driving.
Popcorn's
like
good, man.
it's.
I like popcorn a lot.
2 years ago, I'd have stopped and got the 1 pound thing of cheese and been good.
So when I was in college and I worked at the mall, there's a popcorn place in the food court at the mall that I worked at, and I would go that would just be my lunch. I just go get popcorn every day.
Yeah, my taste has changed though. I would always go to the chicken teriyaki place in the mall. And
Oh yeah,
I've tried to recreate that thing 15 times. I'm like, what do they do differently? It must be a mall thing.
It's the MSG. Oh no, you said you use that. You've got the MSG.
Big accent guy.
Yeah.
I bought the big bottle this time.
Big accent guy. What do you mean?
Accent is a flavoring agent. That
Oh, okay.
mimics MSG.
I thought you meant the people you
And
were
it's
getting
called-
the chicken
it's-
teriyaki from.
It's What movie was it where Lee Trevino would just shake his head but not say anything? Was that Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, it's Happy Gilmore. He
I thought you
pops up. He goes, but Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
I kind of want to Lee Trevino you every time you say something.
I thought you said asterisk.
Accent.
He's got gum in his ears as well.
No mustard. Just plain hot dog.
QBAs. He's so practical. I get the immune system thing. It's just I'm not some human Venus flytrap. I don't want
Wyatt thought the same thing I did.
Hey, and by the way, I wasn't asking.
I don't want just random things finding their way.
So here's the thing. I don't want stuff on my hands, but I'm not a big like, oh, I've been touching things. Like if I don't feel anything on my hands, I'm cool.
How many times a show do I wash my hands?
A lot. Several.
3.
Yeah.
Probably minimum, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just imagine being outside eating at a game. I don't have access to it.
Yeah, I'm not a big like if I don't feel or see or like there's nothing obviously on my hands, I'm cool. Like I'm not a germaphobe in that sense, but I don't like feeling things on my hands.
You do know your thumbnails do get worn down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like pushing and prying and pushing and prying, and occasionally your hand goes in your mouth. They get a little soft. You have to give your nails a break. Just put the whole peanut in your mouth.
No, I'm not doing that.
You don't know what you're missing. You know what they say? All the nutrients are in the skin. It's like potatoes.
Must be a cultural thing.
That's funny. Because I don't know enough to answer the question. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know enough.
Because it could be.
I don't think peanuts are near as popular enough at games.
No, peanut. I mean, I
get the whole song too, right? Yeah. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but there's a place here locally that stopped doing shelled peanuts, and I think it's a travesty.
I
was not very happy when those were off the old vendor list.
It's got to be a mess to clean up, though.
So Brett asked that. He goes, "Hey, how do you think they get all these shells up?" I was like, "I don't know. Certainly not a blower."
Yeah, I used to like the restaurants where you go and you like throw the shells on the ground. I love those. Those are my jam.
I could eat.
Oh, I would go through like
peanuts
a bucket
all day.
Yeah.
If that's kind of my go-to snack. That isn't a sunflower seed kernel
or meat
or pork rind. Like if it's a non-protein.
Yeah.
It's one of those 3 things. It's either a peanut, an almond, a non-shelled sunflower seed. Which, by the way, per pound, you're getting killed. Like if you get a Planters thing of salted sunflower, and they're like 110 in calories. Like you get up there in a hurry.
Well, that's because sunflower, like the fat is there's a lot of stuff in them. Yeah. That's the show for today. We will be back tomorrow to wrap up this short week. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.